What's up, everybody? Thank you for checking out this episode of Chewin the Rag. Today we have a very special guest, the undefeated 7-0 Melissa Bamba Amaya. How are you today?
I'm doing good. It's Friday, work week's over, and yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you are. So you are a full-time nurse, correct? On top of mixed martial arts.
Yeah, I actually was supposed to be part-time, but something happened with the other nurse that I ended up being full-time now. We're still looking for another nurse, so if you guys follow me on my socials, I might make a post soon because nobody's stepping up to help me out. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you're like I said, you're undefeated, so obviously you're working hard at what you do. And then like how do you find time to just like, oh, you know what? I'm also going to do this other job that's not easy either.
It just having a husband and I live with my little brother. They hold down the
Mm.
fort. Like there's no way I would be able to do this on my own
No,
for
absolutely
sure.
not. It's so insane to even like think about because I've seen a couple of your interviews. I've watched probably a handful of your fights, and it's just like I don't I don't see how somebody who's as busy as you is also like I said, you're undefeated. Like you're very good at what you do
Mhm.
outside of that profession too. So
Thank you. Appreciate it. I'm trying to do my best, like do what I can. Like
mhm.
if my best is 30%, it is what it is. Like
All right.
what
It's there's not
yeah.
anything else you could do at that point.
Yeah.
It's like I signed the contract. I have to do this.
Yeah, like say so because I am working more days now, my
Hmm.
strength and conditioning, like MMA, I can make it work because it's in the afternoon. But also my coach has been helping me like get practices in earlier and coordinating that with my training partners so I can go to bed early enough to wake up or for work at 5 in the morning. But
Mm.
sometimes I do sneak in. I work Wednesdays, so I try to wake up around 3:50 if Coach Dylan, my strength and conditioning coach, will let me go early with him. So he's up early training with me too. So it's
Oh
literally like
jeez.
everybody, yeah, for fight camp, everybody was helping me. Like there was just
Hmm.
no way if people weren't helping bend their schedules as well with me.
And how
Cause
like yeah, there's
yeah.
and you're the job as a nurse. Like how do they take that? Like are they supportive of it? They're like, look, we understand. Like this is what you do.
Yeah. So I did the unconventional thing of like I showed up to an interview and you don't say these things in an interview if you want the job, but I was like,
Yeah, right.
so I'm this is before I even started fighting. So I'm aspiring to fight, like this is my plan. I might need 3 to 4 weeks off throughout the year, like randomly, like a whole week off for fight week and all that stuff, right? Right. And was flat out honest with them and they still hired me. So I was like, this is awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, that's
Yeah.
insane. Like,
But it i-
could
it is
you?
a private clinic, so there's more.
Mm,
Yeah, yeah.
okay.
Because if I wanted to be in the hospital because I like the acuity of it, but they
Yeah.
don't care. You're just a number. Like
Yeah.
they don't care. Yeah.
No,
And
my wife's been with
yeah.
the hospital for about 10 years, so I get that.
Oh, what did she do?
So she started out like patient care technician, just like, that role. And now she's a medical coder for the hospital for
Ooh,
billing and whatnot. Yeah,
billing.
yeah, yeah. So, yeah. Real
People
exciting
aren't happy
stuff.
when they talk to you. She must have a lot of patience because the people that come around, like when you're dealing with people in those positions, it's not a good situation.
No, right. And it's
No.
like, and you're explaining to providers or whatnot, and it's like they're like, we like they don't really always grasp the billing side of things. So you're trying to
Hmm.
explain to somebody who's maybe great at what they do, and then that's a whole mess there. But I I don't envy it.
No, no. Kudos to her because no,
Yeah.
I'd rather be wiping
um.
butts.
Yeah. That's
Honestly,
exactly. It.
that's so bad. I look back at my days in the hospital and I'm like, oh yeah. I did that stuff. Oh yeah, my hands
Yeah.
were in those positions. Like,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah. She would like come home and talk about it, and I'm like, that's, and I'm not like grossed out by things, like, at all. But I'm like, I don't think I could do it. I cleaning up like my dog's poop. I'm like, jeez, I gotta take a breather
Yeah.
before I get down there.
It's kind of like with everything else though. You put on a hat, and you're just in that mindset, and
Yeah.
you don't think twice about it. But then you leave, and if you were to see that outside, you'd be like, oh hell no, no.
Yeah. No, 100%. Even, back when I was probably a teenager, I'd probably say 17, we're rolling around grappling. I was at the gym and he busted his nose on my shoulder and he's like leaking. But while you're there, like you don't care that this guy, your teammate, is bleeding all over you. Cage, you get it, bleeding all
Yeah,
over you. And then you get home and you're like, I can't imagine somebody just coming up to me and just bleeding all over, giving me a hug or something
yeah.
like that. And it's
Feeling
the
the
same
warmth of the
exact
blood.
thing. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. It's gross.
And it's like that same thing when you break down what you do. It's like I'm in a very disgusting type of field, but I love it.
Yeah, I do. Oh my gosh. Honestly, I love poking people,
Mm.
like starting IVs. My mouth waters thinking about starting IVs.
It's literally my wife. She's
Really?
when we first met, she's like, "Oh, you have really nice veins," and it's like, "What are you talking?" She's like, "Oh, you have good veins. Like you would be really good to give an IV to." And I'm like, "Yeah, sure, I guess." Like,
You call her a
it's,
vampire.
I was
That's
like,
awesome.
I stuck around, I guess, but it was definitely, it's not something you open up with.
You're like, you're weird. It intrigues me.
That's exactly it.
That's why you stuck around.
And yeah, it's not like I'm not. You don't talk to strangers online through a camera if you're not somewhat weird yourself. So it works out.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
Like,
I used to be super shy. Look, I don't know where this conversation is going or if you want it to go a certain way, but I'm
no,
gonna
you're
run with it.
just ramble.
Awesome. So I used to have terrible anxiety. Like, and it
Mm,
just got worse and worse over the years to the point where this is post college. I think it was during like COVID times. I would have to sit in my car and hype myself up before I went into the grocery store. I'm
oh
like, okay,
man.
I have my list. Just gonna go in there. It's fine. Blah blah blah. I get maybe three items into my list, and I start getting sweaty.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I need to get out of here. Like I felt like everybody's looking at me, And I was like, I don't really need these last things on my list. Just get the fuck out of there. Like it was
Yeah, yeah.
bad. It was so bad.
So like she's still doing coding, but she got like a little bit of a promotion where she may have to do public speaking or whatnot. And I'm trying to tell her like, look, I don't even like talking in a public setting. And she's like, what do you, I've done comedy, like stand up on stage, and people are like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, I really, I know it seems crazy because this telling jokes on stage to random people, but like, I really don't like interacting with like public speaking. I don't like
hmm
calling about my appointments. Like, if I miss a call, I'm
Yeah.
like, I got to see what that voicemail is first, so I kind of know what I'm getting into when I
If
call
it's
back.
important, they'll leave a
Yeah,
voicemail.
yeah, yeah. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. But now
like
like I've managed to, find the right therapies and they worked for me, so I'm like forever
mm,
grateful, but now it's almost like I overcorrected.
yeah, yeah,
I feel free now. I'm just like, yeah,
yeah.
I'll
Just
say things and
overshare with
yeah.
everybody.
Oh yeah. And I don't believe, okay, I believe in professionalism in terms of knowing your job, doing what you got to
Hmm.
do, being professional and like doing what you got to do at the moment, like let's say if shit hits the fan or whatever. But in terms of interacting with my patients, I'll just talk to them, like shoot the shit
Yeah,
and just
yeah.
not cuss because that'll be crossing the line kind of,
Right, right.
but I do probably push the boundaries with certain conversations.
But I feel
Yeah.
like that's like, I don't know if that's normal, but like I feel like once you're interacting with people for such a long period of time, like whether it's a patient or for me, I work in a warehouse, so I don't really see customers much. So when one does back up
Mhm.
to the dock, I'm like, hell yeah, like I can fucking talk to this guy for a little bit
Yeah.
because like I do enjoy talking. So but I don't know. I don't know if that's a normal thing or if it's like people look at that like that's not professional. I really don't know. I never saw an issue with that as at all.
Yeah. I so when I moved here from New Mexico, so I'm in Spokane now. I went
Hmm.
to Ross because Ross is my comfort place. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's not gonna break the bank, but there's so much randomness that you just kind of
Yeah.
peruse the aisles. And I picked something up and accidentally dropped it, and I was like, "Oh shit!" And I started laughing, and I made a joke about it to somebody that was next to me,
Mm.
and she just looked at me and she's like,
Oh
and then
God.
she kept walking, and I was like, "Welcome to Spokane, Melissa." It's like, man, people are not warm here. Like this is not cool.
No, I'm I'm in New York, so it's like I'm not in the city, but you know that whole New York thing where everybody comes off as rude, and it's like we're not really rude. We just
Yeah.
a lot of people just don't give a shit about anything but themselves in New York. It's like
Yeah.
get my shit, get out of here. So it's
Yeah.
but I never picked up on that. It's a very weird New York thing that I don't think I have in me, unless
You're
I'm like
born and raised,
born and raised in New York.
and that never like stuck to you.
Never, luckily, because I
Interesting.
don't. To me, it's like I don't know. It just seems rude. Like if somebody makes that sort of
Yeah.
joke to me, I don't think I could be like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" Like I
Uh-huh.
feel like I would react in some sort of even if I don't think it's funny, like a giggle, just anything at all to acknowledge it.
Yeah. It's upbringing too. Like I don't
Mhm.
know how were you raised? Like yes sir, no sir,
No,
be
absolutely.
nice.
No,
No.
no, no.
No.
It was like my mother was um a lot like me where she's very like kind of bubbly. Um and I was able to kind of my father not so much. He was like the kind of stern, but it wasn't like yes sir, no sir. It was just like get the fuck away from me, sir. Like it was one of those.
Yeah.
But
Nice.
no, we were very like jokey household for the most part. Nobody really took themselves too serious at all, which was good.
That's probably why, because I don't know. I feel like people take themselves too serious and then turn into a robot, and then I'm just like, oh
Yeah.
my God, like,
Yeah, it's
am I
like nobody
talking to
wants
a
to be
wall?
around that. Like, it's
Yeah,
fucking awful.
which is probably like that's why I have a hard time with people trying to tie me to like identity, like you're a nurse or you're this or
Ye
you're that.
yeah.
I'm like, no, I'm just me and I'm just feeling this thing. Like I'm just doing
Right.
it. It's not who
Yeah.
I am.
That's exactly it. Like
Yeah.
and that was kind of, one of the things that came up like so outside of that busy schedule that you have, like what's life outside like is it just like do you have one of those days where it's like I'm not getting off my fucking couch today or like a guilty pleasure food or is it
Oh
just like
yeah.
yeah.
Oh yeah. Netflix, binging Netflix. It's bad. I can watch a whole show. It's
Mm,
so I'm that second I sign a contract or the second I put my mind to something, like obsessively boom, 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 sticking to schedule.
yeah,
So I get fixated. Even like a
yeah.
puzzle, I can be fixated on that thing for hours. But I also have that opposite side where it's like do nothing. I could sleep in all day. Not anymore. Not anymore because I used to have terrible depression. Like, but
Yeah.
again, I got therapy and it's gone now for the most part. But at least the suicidal ideation's not there anymore.
Yeah, right.
But but like I can just veg out like terribly. And I love eating. I don't know what's wrong with me, but if it wasn't for sports, I would be 300, 400 pounds for sure.
See, I had that same, you know, I have a 4-year-old now, which is probably the only thing keeping me
Oh.
from not like melting into a couch, but like I'm very my wife too, we're both like pretty outgoing people. We're not lazy by any means,
Hmm.
but like we can be where it's like we absolutely have that in us. And if it wasn't
The
for that
balance.
4-year-old, yeah, there's a good
Yeah.
chance that we would have it a lot more.
Yeah, for sure. But other than that, I like to I've I've really gotten into playing piano, like trying to learn.
Mhm.
And I didn't realize I was getting that much better at reading music
Yeah.
until this app. They have this section where because it's basically like Guitar Hero but for piano,
Yeah.
and it'll tell you it won't move on until you hit the right note. It just kind of goes on, kind of like a game.
Oh
So it's
wow. Yeah.
yeah, it is so cool. Well, speaking of Guitar Hero and all that, another one that my husband and I stayed up I think until like 3 in the morning playing because I just couldn't stop. It's so bad. Have you ever heard of the game Slitherio?
I'm trying to think. I don't think so.
It's basically like the snake eating one where you eat and you get bigger as you go.
Okay. Okay. Yep.
Except
Yep.
you're in a server, so you're online
Yeah.
and it picks up like I don't know 50 players or 20 or whatever, and everybody just goes until there's a winner. But
Hmm.
if somebody hits your head, you dissipate and you turn into a bunch of little energy balls, and then everybody else can eat that. Yeah, or you can circle somebody until they just
Hmm.
like collapse into themselves. Have you played that one?
Hmm. No, I have not. But
No.
it's familiar to other games, and it sounds
Yeah.
very addicting.
Yeah, so that was college time and I had class at 8 in the morning, but again, 3, 4. I'm just wide-eyed, like I just couldn't stop. It's so
Yeah.
bad.
Was it a
So the
mobile
obsessed
game?
yes, and you can do it
Okay.
on
Okay.
computer. You
Okay.
can do it on the computer, yeah. So when I was a library assistant, of course, I was just in
Hmm.
slow days, I was like playing it. But the obsessiveness I have is destructive, but obviously, I'm
Yeah.
undefeated, so it it helps
I
in
mean,
other ways.
yeah, if you're
Yeah,
like you said, even piano, I mean, obviously it helps that you have something similar to like a game that you can play. Like it almost doesn't even seem like you're really picking like you said, you wouldn't think you're picking up on it the way you are because to you you're just kind of playing this game and then you're like, oh
yeah.
shit, I could read this sheet music now.
Mhm. Which is really cool. There's times where I'm like, I feel like playing this song from when I was first starting,
Yeah.
and I go back and I don't realize it's like boring and slow and very basic. I'm like, whoa!
Right.
I remember when I was trying to do that initially, and I'm like, this is so hard. Like, what's going on? This is I live for those moments where you're just like, you're like,
Yeah,
oh,
like where something clicks.
yeah. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm way ahead of where I thought I was initially, which is pretty
Hmm.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you're in something like even not even talking about like cage fighting, but just like joke writing, anything at all where you're like, I was having such a hard time putting a sentence together, even that I would think would be funny. And now it's like, why was I struggling so much with something as stupid as that right there? And it's like, oh, well, it just means I'm improving. It doesn't mean I'm stupid.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Sounds like do you have a little bit of perfectionism or like really
If it's
tough on yourself?
something, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
with like certain things, like even this here, it's only me. Like I do everything myself, but like if I don't have a guest, I'm like, I still have to put an episode out, and I'll say things like, I know this is boring, and it's like, I probably shouldn't say that because like for all I know, these people are fucking loving it, but like to me, it's like I do so much better where I'm feeding off of energy of like somebody else, and it
Hmm.
kind of I think that's where that perfectionism comes in, where I just feel like me alone isn't good enough. Like
Yeah.
I need feedback. Like when I'm talking to somebody, I get my feedback. I know it's going well or not.
Uh-huh. Interesting.
And I just want
That would be
everything.
hard.
Yeah, and I just want everything
Yeah.
like when I'm editing, just everything. I'm like, I can't believe I fucking didn't think of this or I missed this, and I'm listening back to it. I'm like, do I really want to go back upstairs and do this? Do I think anybody else is gonna pick up on this? Probably not, but I think I'm gonna go upstairs and do it.
Yeah. Oh, not letting yourself off. It's kind of like when you see trash on the floor and you're gonna walk by and you're like, nah, and then you
Yeah.
circle back because
Yeah.
you know it's
Yeah.
still there. Yeah, I totally
That's
get that.
exactly what it is.
Hmm. Sounds like a
Um,
recipe for greatness, though.
Yeah, hopefully. That's what
Yeah,
we're hoping. We're
with it,
hoping
with it,
we
with
reach that.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So,
awesome.
what made you go from, I believe you said, was it New Mexico or Mexico? I'm sorry.
New Mexico.
New Mexico to Spokane. How does that come
My
to be?
my husband in the military. Yeah, they have a
That'll
base
do it.
here, Fairchild. It's our first one, and he's been here for 5 years. So
Oh, really?
yeah, I got lucky
Okay.
though. I got really lucky. So we were doing long distance for a while. I was going through nursing school, and then got a good job at a level one trauma center. I was
Okay.
like, this is just really good for you know how momentum is like.
Yeah.
It's hard to uproot when you feel like you can get everything you need in that area.
Yep.
So I was like, it's gonna be hard to kind of transplant without the experience that I need. Blah blah blah, you know. So we were long distance for I think a couple years, 2 or 3 years, and then one day he's like, "Babe, like, are you ever coming?" I was just like, "Well, uh," and then I just pulled a date out of my ass. I was like, September or something like that.
Yeah.
And it just set like the beginning of the year just set a month and then
Oh,
we
wow.
just made it happen. Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's kind of like you can dance around something, but until you like put it, then everything just kind of
Yeah.
starts
Yeah.
working around it, which is
Yeah.
insane.
I mean, that's a. So, how long have you guys been together now?
January will be what year are we? 10 years.
Eh, Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
It's crazy to
Yeah.
think about because, like I said, I have a 4 year old. It's not like we met and just had a 4 year old. So it's like when somebody asks me that question, I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah, it's been about 10 years. And it's like, y- it
Yeah.
doesn't really feel like it, which I guess is a good thing. If it felt like time was dragging with your significant other,
Hmm.
it's probably not
Yeah.
going great.
Yeah.
But
Where it
like
feels
to
like it's
say 10
dragging.
years, yeah,
Yeah. Especially because I felt like I was never gonna be in a long-term relationship, blah blah blah. I was
yeah,
like, I'm just not meant to be in a relationship. Like
right.
people get bored of me and then they just leave. I'm like, okay, I'm temporary fun, I guess. It's fine. Then I met
Well,
him and it just literally clicked. Like
mhm.
from the moment we met. We met at a surprise birthday party for my roommate at the time. And they had gone to high school together, so they like mutual friends.
Oh,
And
okay.
I just remember seeing him and I was like, no, Melissa, you're focusing on yourself right now. You finally are out of your rock bottom. Like, no,
Yeah,
something was just connecting us. And
yeah.
then we ended up hugging at the party, and it just felt like home. And it was weird
Mm,
because he said he felt the same way. He's like, it felt like we had known each other forever, and it was weird. It was
that is
that
weird.
moment, yeah, like you just know. But I tried pulling a Cinderella. And I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna go." Like, not give him any socials or any phone
Yeah,
number.
right.
When he like grabs my hand as I'm leaving, he's like, "You're not leaving without giving me your number." And I was like, "I wanted you to try to find me, but okay."
Yeah, fine, I guess.
Yeah, I guess. I guess no chase here, whatever.
I mean, that's kind of, I mean, not exactly, but we both worked at a department store. And it was just one of those things where I believe a coworker was leaving the store and they were doing like a goodbye thing at like a local bar or something. And I was like, oh, I can just drive you. Like, you don't have your car, that's fine. And we were actually both seeing other people at the time, but it was like, you just kind of, there was just something there. Where it was like,
Hmm.
yeah, no, this is, this just seems much better. And I mean, we have a son together, we have a home.
Yeah.
So it definitely
Oh,
was the, was the case.
yeah. So you guys have been together for 10 years?
Right about, I believe it was 2015.
Yeah.
So yeah,
2015 was a
right
good
about.
year.
Yeah, I guess so.
That was a great year. How old
No,
are
it
you?
was. I'm 31.
You're not that much older. I'm 29. I
Okay, that
almost
was
said
actually.
30. Wow, I'm way ahead
I
of
know
that.
that's it's
People are usually like,
the
no, not the 3-0. I don't care.
yeah. I don't. It was always like a thing with, I have friends who they're like, oh, well, wait till you hit 30, and I'm like, I'm not like you guys. Like I'm pretty active. Like
Yeah, yeah.
you guys just fell apart on your own. Don't group me in with you
I
guys.
love that. I feel the same way. I'm like, yeah, my joints hurt, but I'm not stopping.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Like, I'm at the age now where I can say like I'm in my 30s. That was the first thing somebody said when I hit 31, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I guess so." Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Totally get it. Oh man. I don't know.
um,
I like to think like so somebody asked me in an interview once, like, where do you see yourself in 10 years? And I was like, holy shit, I'll almost be 40.
I hate that question. I'm like,
I was like, whoa,
yeah,
dude,
yeah,
slow down
no.
there.
Like 10 years, I have a 14-year-old. Like, I don't need to think about 10 years from now.
And he's at a son.
Yeah, I have a
Okay.
14-year-old. I would have a 14-year-old. I have a 14-year-old. No, I have
Yeah.
a 4-year-old. He'll be 5 in October.
I was just thinking girl wise, that would be a lot to handle. I don't know.
Yeah. It's it's weird because like once you become a parent, like you always have that thing where it's like, oh, if I have a girl and then I have a son and I have to look at it from that point of view, where it's like, I wouldn't want some dad doing the whole like tough guy thing to my son. Like, why are you intimidating a teenage boy? So now it's like,
Yeah.
it spun that into that point of view because it was always, oh, thinking about like daughter dating and this, that, and the third. And now it's like, I have to look at it in the light of what I want somebody like me being like, oh, don't touch my daughter. It's like, no.
Hmm.
Why are
Yeah.
we intimidating children?
It puts it into perspective.
Hmm.
Yeah. Well, kind of like when we're younger, I don't know if you felt the same way. It's like you look at the high schoolers and like, oh my God, I can't wait to be grown.
Yeah.
And then you're in college and you look at high schoolers and you're a child, dude.
Yeah,
Slow
you're a kid.
down. It's so weird.
It's really weird. I work, like I said, I work in a warehouse, and when you're in a job like that, kids come and go, like 19-year-old kids, 21-year-old kids, and yeah, they're like supposed to be your peer, but like that's a child to me. like,
Yeah.
like I understand that you're going out on an install for a fireplace or whatever, but like I feel like you're fresh out of high school. We just don't have that much in common.
They probably are. I have some coworkers. That's the weird thing too. I finally this year or last year, I finally felt like the adult in the room and I wasn't looking
Yeah.
around for somebody to guide me.
Yeah.
It's just weird. But I vibe with my coworkers so well and they're 10 years younger than me. 10 to 8.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. It's a weird thing.
does
It's
that
a
say
really
anything
weird
about
thing.
me or is it
All right. Am I
are they just
immature?
or are they just that grown now? I don't know.
I also feel like, I don't know, when you get into like a workplace, even if you're young, you want to be like, oh, I belong here. I'm an adult now. Like you're kind of trying to, and then the
Hmm.
adults are like, no, it's cool. Like, come here. We can fuck off for a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, let's all relax.
Yeah.
Guys, we are going to take a quick break from this episode of Chewin' the Rag to talk to you about Dubby. What is Dubby? Dubby is a jitter-free clean energy company. They carry shakers, they carry energy powder, they carry rehydration drinks, gym bags. That hat back there is actually from Dubby. I got a keyboard, uh, like a mouse pad right here from Dubby. Great company, great quality. I'm somebody that, midday, I want to grab an energy drink while I'm driving around. Before work, have my coffee. After work, before recording, for example, let's caffeinate somehow. Dubby negates that. I swear, I have one shaker of Dubby a day is all I need to keep going. And right now, they're offering 20% off. That's 10% off more than what they used to. 20% off if you go to dubby.gg and use promo code CHEWIN at checkout. That's dubby.gg and use promo code CHEWIN at checkout. While you are out there browsing the web, taking a look around, be sure to go to chewintherag.com. We have new merch up, t-shirts, tank tops, hats. We got a bunch of like warm weather stuff out there. We've got a whole new different line of stuff from what we used to have. And also on that website, you can find the Discord. You can find all the social medias, where you can find you in the reg, the email to ask questions. The Discord right now is a lot of fun. We're constantly in there just playing games. We've got the Ask the Pod tab where you can ask questions, interact with everybody. We're trying to get that going. So chewintherag.com for merch, social medias, and everything else regarding Chewing the Rag. Sticker mule. Guys, if you are familiar with this podcast, if you are familiar with me, you know I like artwork. I like graffiti. I like sticker bombing things. I like skateboard culture. I have custom package bags with my brand on it, with Chewing the Rag rather on it, stickers with Chewing the Rag on it. I get compliments on those stickers, on those bags. People ask me where I get them. I'll tell you right now, Sticker Mule. Sticker Mule provides me with stickers, labels, bags, t-shirts now. They literally offer everything. They are a local company to where I am. And right now, using the code in this description of this episode, you can save, I believe it's $10 on your first order by signing up. So if you go to Sticker Mule, go right to the description of this episode, click on the link for Sticker Mule. It'll bring you to a sign up screen and save $10 on your next order with Sticker Mule. Stickers, bags, merch, literally everything. Fast. They send you mock-ups. They send you everything you need to ensure that you're getting a quality product, and they are with you every step of the way. So go to the link in the description, go to Sticker Mule, sign up, save yourself some money today. If you are enjoying the pod show, please be sure to like, rate, subscribe, and share on whatever platform you are listening on. Kind of helps just pick up the pace for us, the algorithm, all that fun, boring stuff that nobody wants to hear about. So if you're enjoying it, please be sure to do that. And thank you again for listening to Chewing the Rag.
I don't know. There's some girls there that have been working together forever. They're like, they remind me of like the Golden Girls, except younger.
Oh God.
Yeah, the office aunties. They're cool. I like them.
Yeah, there's always like some like the people who have been there long enough, and then they're kind of just like, to them it's home. So they can be themselves and they get that personality, and they've both done it for so long. So it just meshes well. Those people are fun to be around.
Yeah, for sure. And they know all the office politics and
Yeah, what you can and can't maybe get away with if you're trying to get away with something, or
yeah.
promotion wise, like, all right, well, here's what they're gonna look for. All the just little nonsense they don't really think of.
Mhm. What kind of warehouse do you work at?
So I work for it's a small business, it's family owned, and it's like a stove and chimney. We install like fireplaces and
Ooh,
whatnot. So it's
yeah,
only me in the warehouse, and then it's like the install crews and all those guys. So it's
that's
super
cool.
small. Yeah, it's not
Yeah,
too bad. I'm looking to get out. If anybody's watching this, no, I'm not, but if I'm looking to get out.
yeah,
But it's not because like I don't like my job. I think my job is great. It's just I'd like to be closer to home and maybe like make a little bit more money for sure.
mhm, yeah.
But
What would you look for? Like,
I don't know. That's the thing. Like, I'm 31. I would rather not be bouncing around. I'm kind of like interested in maybe getting into like production work, I think. Just like assembly line stuff. Just because
mhm,
figuring stuff out with this has made me realize like I kind of like putting the stuff together and what works, what doesn't work.
mhm,
So maybe something like that would probably be the field I go into, or like sanitation stuff. I've always done like cleaning and whatnot. So if I can get into like a big sanitation job,
mhm.
that'd be great.
Yeah,
Something along those lines, maybe.
nice.
I don't know.
What is it? But when I hear sanitation, I think like doing janitorial type of stuff. Is it kind of
Yeah,
similar or
yeah, pretty much, kind of. So
yeah?
my son, everything comes back to him. So my son has food allergies. So like
Mhm.
if I could get into like kitchen sanitation and prevent like cross contamination, like I kind of feel like
Yeah.
it hits close to home. I might actually give it a little bit more of a shit about it. Like right now, I'm just reading
Yeah.
labels on a box. Like I'm sorry, it's not something I'm passionate about. I don't care
Yeah.
about it. It's just a job. Whereas something like that, where it's like, you don't want to mix your peanut butter with your vanilla or whatever the hell it might be. If it's ice cream, for example, like
Mhm.
paying attention to that sort of thing, where it's like, if I fuck this up, I'm possibly hurting a kid with a peanut allergy or something. It's like,
Yeah.
that's not okay. So
You
something
have
like
a
that, where
big
it's like kitchen
responsibility.
sanitation. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like kitchen sanitation, something like that would be pretty cool, I think, to get into.
My friend, so that reminds me, my friend has a severe allergy to beans. And
Hmm.
I'm a nurse, and I've never seen a tongue that's swollen in my
Oh
life.
Jesus. Oh man.
It touched a bean, and
Uh
I was like,
it's
that thing was massive. Like, you thought you
yeah,
could die.
yeah, so I never had allergies. So like to me, I understood allergies. I understood like why I couldn't bring a peanut butter sandwich into school as a kid because some kid might have allergies, but I never really understood like the severity. And my son's like egg, peanut, dairy, like he has like more than 5 allergies listed. And the severity of like what each might do, including like animal dandruff, which luckily we don't have cats,
Ooh,
we have dogs, so it's not as bad. But
yeah.
it was so weird that like because he when he was a baby, he had egg and he was fine the first time he had it. There was no issue. So we gave him a bowl of scrambled eggs and he reacted and he like went unconscious and we had an EpiPen and like a whole thing,
Mm,
hospital stay. And it's like a bowl of scrambled eggs. Like the severity of that from just cracking an egg and eating it is so insane.
yeah. So he has
Like,
anaphylactic reaction to several things.
yeah, yeah,
Damn.
yeah. It's so tough. It's the toughest thing. It's like now he's getting into like school age and stuff. So
Yeah.
my mind's always gonna be like racing when he's at school. Like,
So what
you
about
know what I
touching
mean?
stuff?
I don't think. Um, I think. Yeah, I don't think it's as bad. Like he will have a little
Yeah.
bit of a rash, but it's something that we could just like apply an ointment to, maybe give him a Benadryl, and it's not as
Hmm.
crazy. But he does have like those reactions where he will get like a rash if he touches certain foods and whatnot. And it's like, geez,
That's
his birthday
scary.
party, we had his foods obviously because it's his birthday party. We have his allergen friendly foods, and then we had like pizza for the other kids and whatnot. And they were all
Hmm.
playing like toys and whatnot after having the pizza, forgot to wash their hands, and he comes out and he's like red, and I'm like, dude, what did you get into? And then I'm like, son of a bitch, like we didn't, you know, we know better than to cross contaminate, but we just didn't. It's a birthday party, everybody's playing. It's hard to
Yeah.
everybody line up, wash your hands, like,
Oh,
and it's
that's
like,
rough.
son of a bitch. It's tough. It is tough, but we're pretty good about it. We're really good about it here. And then, before he goes, he has like a summer program he'll go to a couple days a week at his school here, and we're constantly emailing like, hey, look, do you guys have an epi? Do you need an epi? This, that, the third, and here's what he can have, can't have. So it's just
Yeah.
something that you have to be diligent about and hope that the other people that he's going to see, teachers and whatnot, also give a shit. And you would hope that they're teachers, so they do. So you're just putting a lot of trust in people. That's what this is at this point.
Yeah.
Like a
Yeah.
lot of trust. And he's very smart. So he'll ask his teachers like, "Is this a safe snack?" And they'll tell him like, "Nobody that has dairy in it or something like that." So
Uh-huh.
luckily, and he knows his allergies, so that's the big thing.
How old did you say he
He's
was again?
4. He's only 4. So, but he'll rattle them off. He say
A
like, "What are you allergic to?"
sweetheart.
And yeah, he's unfortunately got a
Oh
little bit of a
no.
tough break, but he
Oh, poor kid. Sounds like a sweetheart though.
is. He's a good kid.
Yeah.
He's a good kid. I was on vacation from work this weekend. We didn't go anywhere. I was just kind of home, so we got to spend a lot of time together this week, which was nice. But he's a good boy. He's
Do you
he's
have allergies too, or is it just
no allergies. My wife has some, but nothing like crazy the way he does at all.
yeah?
I don't I don't know where it came from, but I blame her. She's got some, and I feel like they mutated.
Yeah. It multiplied.
Yeah,
Same as
yeah.
him.
They all came from her. He's
I
got.
have a I have a
Go
friend
ahead.
who's allergic to cinnamon and I think nutmeg. Can you believe like trying to dodge that? And anaphylactic, like
Really?
itchy. Well, I'm sure in certain doses, but if she touches
Yeah,
it, it just looks
yeah.
like itchy throat and all that. I'm just like everything
That's
that's
such.
great has cinnamon in it.
I know, like literally everything, and that's how I felt about him. Like I always was like eggs in the morning, you know, type of guy, and like now we don't even keep him in the house, and I'm like dairy, like he outgrew wheat, but he had a wheat allergy, and I was like, the amount of things that have just wheat in them, like,
Mm-hmm.
dude, what am I supposed to keep in this fucking house? I'm afraid to grocery shop.
Yeah. So just fresh stuff then.
Yeah, he was very like he loved like ham and like you could get like certain like tater tots and very like fruits, vegetables. So like he was overall he's a very healthy kid.
At
But
least
like
there's that. No processed
yeah,
foods
that's
for
it.
him.
Like there's not as much
Yeah.
processed food that you can have at all.
Yeah. Poor
Yeah, it's
kiddo.
I'm hoping he outgrows most of them, even if it's just like not even just for the sake of like him being able to try these foods, but like just less
Hmm.
worry in the outside world,
Yeah.
like outside of these four walls for sure.
Yeah. Just be able to enjoy himself and whatnot.
Yeah, that's exactly it. So that's the hope. That's the hope. You and your husband, no kids right now, right?
No.
No
I've
kids.
never wanted any.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I
Harrison
just
Bucker would be very disappointed in you.
I think they'd be I think they'd be more disappointed that I don't get that reference.
He was so the reason he even came up was that was a it's so stupid. Everybody thinks they're a fucking comedian that listens to this thing. And like one of the questions that came in was like, would you ever quit your job and quit everything you're doing and be a stay-at-home wife like Harrison Bucker? Or it was like this question brought to you by Harrison Bucker. So he is a kicker for the Kansas City Chiefs.
Uh-huh.
And he gave like a long 30-minute speech and he's like the women you have all been lied to. I know that like most of you think you're excited for like your career and everything else, but really what you're most excited for is to be a wife and a mother. And like people were
Trying to
like, oh,
tell them what they're
shut
excited for.
up. So naturally, I just bombed a Harrison Bucker reference. So that's good.
Yeah, I
So
don't,
stupid.
like growing up, I wanted to be an Olympic athlete,
Mhm.
some kind of professional athlete, something. I just had big dreams.
Yeah.
I
Mhm.
didn't give a shit about a wedding. I didn't even want my quinceañera. Like,
Yeah.
like I didn't even want that. I asked my parents, like, hey, so with that money that would go to that, can I just get a new basketball court or can you create like
Right.
a long jump pit in the backyard?
Mm.
But my parents, they didn't get to experience that great stuff as kids either because of their upbringing in Mexico, and
Yeah.
they wanted to give me this thing, and also my mom wanted to kind of experience it through me, like
Yeah.
I didn't get,
Right.
like, I want you to experience it. And I was like, all right, I get a big poofy bubblegum pink dress. I totally went over and aboard with that. But even just things like that, I was just like, no, I don't care about this girly stuff.
Yeah.
I
No.
No, I guess I came home. I ran home when I was a kid, maybe like eight something, really young, and I told
Mhm.
my mom like, vacuname," and I was like crying and like, inject me, like give me a vaccine. And I guess I heard somewhere that there was something you can get, birth control. Now I know that that you can keep you from having kids.
Yeah.
I didn't know that at the time, but I was just like,
Right. Of
I thought it
course.
was like, I thought kids at that age, I was like, no, even that
No. No.
young,
Yeah.
no. Now that I met my husband, it was the first time I was like, you'd be such a great dad. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
What did you just say to yourself? Like, oh man, okay. So now I'm entertaining the idea. Like,
Yeah.
my my biology confuses me sometimes, but you know, maybe
So
we will
yeah.
see.
Yeah. I mean, we didn't.
Uh,
We didn't like plan on it. You know, we were already engaged when she got
mhm.
pregnant. So like I said, it wasn't really a planned thing. It was kind of just like we're not preventing it. Like we're both
Yeah, we're
adults. We
not
know
being
how it
careful.
works. Like
Yeah.
we know how it works, but it wasn't really planned. Um, I was always that kid who like wanted to be a dad.
Uh
Like
huh.
I always just got like I just liked kids. Um, so like to me it was a no-brainer that eventually I would have a kid. And that was like the annoying thing about that is like everybody's like, "Do you want a son or a daughter?" And I'm like, I just hope they're healthy. Like it sounds generic and cliche, but it's like I really didn't have a preference on whether or not I had a son or daughter. Obviously,
Mm.
as a guy, I just felt like son would be easier for
Yeah.
sure because I'm more familiar. But like I really didn't. And my wife, she's not, super, she was, softball her whole life, like athlete.
Mhm.
Same thing. She wanted like just go to the courthouse, get married. Like
Yeah.
could we skip all that? But her parents were like, no, we want you to have a wedding. Like it doesn't have to be huge, but and
They want
my
something
mom,
nice.
same thing. Like I'm her oldest son. Like, could you guys please just for the love of God do something? And we're like,
Yeah.
all right, yeah, we could do that.
Oh, and you had
But
a nice little wedding.
yeah, it was super small, but it was nice. It wasn't a courthouse. Like
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
wasn't that.
We
But
had a small one. It was 20 people, literally just
okay.
immediate
Immediate.
family.
Yep.
Yeah, and it was
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah.
But
Like
we're still planning on having the big one, and that
mhm.
dress is waiting in my mom's closet. She got me the big gown.
Oh really?
Hopefully, I don't know. I'm thinking like a 7-year wedding or like a lucky number seven. Like
Yeah.
have everybody. Because when we got married, it was during COVID too, and it's just I think it was during
Oh
COVID.
right. Right.
Yeah, like
Yeah, it
what?
was
That's not gonna happen.
no, we got married right before COVID, which was nice.
Mm,
But like I've seen pictures of like people's COVID weddings and whatnot, and it was like these outdoor things, and not to say like shanty, but like these were people that I know would want a big wedding, and I was like, man, having to put that off and like be like, look, we still want this date because we've been planning it and whatnot, and then it's like you see them downsize, it's like ah shit, like you feel so bad
mm,
for them
yeah,
because, like I said, these were people that I know weren't like me and my wife who wanted 10 people could come at the most, so we don't give a shit. Like,
yeah,
please, if we invite you, please be busy. I promise we won't
yeah.
care.
Shotgun wedding in Vegas. Just
Yeah.
go.
Like,
Yeah.
but like, I, I was like, that's, you do feel bad for those people who wanted something extravagant and then, they just didn't get it. But that's when you do a
I-
second wedding, like you said. Like,
yeah.
that's when you do the
Ideally,
big one.
you only want to get married once, but
Yeah. Yeah. If you're married
yeah.
twice to the same person, it's fine.
I think that'd be cute. I
Yeah.
don't know.
No, I
For the
think so.
longest time, I was asking people, I was like, "Do you think it'd be weird if we had like a bigger wedding later, like many years after being married?" And I was like,
Yeah.
"Who gives a shit?
Yeah.
Throw
Honestly,
a
who the fuck?
party, wear a wedding
Right.
dress, and yeah,
It would be cool. Like my son wasn't born when we got married. Like even something that he gets to be like a part of in that sense. Like I don't. Who gives a shit? Who's gonna tell me no? Like if that's what
but
we want to do.
that probably set a really, really good example too of like a functioning couple of like a loving
Yeah.
couple.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he
That would
talks
be
about
adorable.
like, yeah, he talks about like, because certain like shows might see a wedding or something, and we're like, oh, mom and dad are married. Like, mom and dad are husband and wife. And it's like, oh, like he's piecing that together. So
Yeah. Like,
it would
that's
probably be
cool.
fun. Yeah.
Yeah. That would be so cool. See, I hear stories of having a little mini me, and I'm like, hmm. My husband's always wanted one, so.
Mm,
But I told him I was like, I may never want one,
right. Yeah.
just
Yeah.
so you know.
Just he still married
Yeah.
you, so he's open
Yeah.
to the
Yeah.
idea of not having one.
I told him before he proposed, I was like, this is
Yeah.
the deal. And he's like, no, I still want to marry. And I'm like, all right
All right.
then.
Like maybe he's
Yeah.
hoping to convince you. He's like, we've been together 15 years
I
now.
literally drilled that into him too. I was like, don't you dare think that's even an inch of hope. Like, no. But so I was resistant to a dog too. I
Mm,
just think it's the idea of like responsibility.
yeah.
That's how much I love naps.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
just like anything gets in the way of me and my nap, and I'm gonna be pissed off. Um, but we ended up getting a dog, and
Hmm.
then he's like the only reason I even suggested this is because she's highly trained. She is very trained. You can roll a ball past her, and she won't even look at it.
Oh wow.
But I think she's overly trained. Overly.
Yeah. It's
So,
just
someone broke her dog spirit. I don't know who
yeah.
did, but. She was a rescue. And
Okay.
she finally got used to her house, so I noticed that she was kind of getting bored.
Mm.
So then I thought, like, she needs a friend. Stupid. I was getting a massage from a friend, and she had this cute little puppy, and I was like, oh, he's adorable. And she's like, oh, they have more. My
Oh
sister
God.
has a litter, and if you get it tonight, she could give it to you for a discounted price. And I was like, mind you, I just got a massage. I was mega relaxed, and I was like,
Yeah, right.
babe. After I sent him a picture, I'm like, hear me out.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, you gotta get the
That's
picture first. That's how you do it.
oh, how cute. Like
Yeah,
it
yeah.
could be ours.
What kind of dogs do you
Terrible.
have?
So the grandma I call Ruby. She's a German
Yeah.
Shepherd.
Okay.
Grandma. They told us she was younger than I don't. There's no way she has like white hair. She's just
Oh
this
yeah.
old lady, hips cracking, hip dysplasia, just
Yeah.
straight up like liars. But whatever. And then the one that we ended up getting second is a German Shepherd Malamute mix.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, all black. He's gorgeous.
Yep. Yep.
A turd bag though. He's such a whiny. Ugh. His squeal. He was a puppy, right? When I got him.
Yeah.
And I've never raised a puppy and I didn't put two I was going through fight camp working and I got a
Right.
puppy. Like I didn't
Yeah.
put two and two of what that entails.
Yeah.
Holy moly, teaching potty training, teaching it
Dude,
its name.
my God.
Holy moly.
It's a lot.
I was gonna I was like, I can't. I don't know
Yeah.
why. Sleep deprived. I was just like not
Yeah,
myself, but
right.
my thoughts were terrible. I was just like, "Fuck did I do?"
We
But
yeah, our puppy
yeah,
that we have, he's a pit bull and he is 5 months. So I get it. And I've had him since he was like able to come off the nipples. So
yeah.
like we're literally hopefully it's soon
Oof.
off the like tail end of that. But that yelping, that like pissing in the house nonsense constantly, we
Are
are
you
in the thick of it.
are you kennel training him?
Oh yeah. Yeah, we had to.
That
He
was
is
the hardest
fucking
part because he's just crying and crying in there, and I'm like
yeah.
sleeping with
Dude,
a pillow
so
in my head. I'm like, he has to get used to it.
yeah. He's he's very good about it, but his things even still right now is when our alarm goes off in the morning and we think we're gonna fucking snooze it, he hears that, he's like, no, we're up for the day, bitch. Get
Yeah,
up.
he's like,
Like
I'm not
that's
stopping.
literally yeah, no, he's like, I don't no, I heard the alarm. We're supposed to be up. And
Yeah,
that's the part of the kennel where it's like, I need that to stop. And then we're good. We're chilling. We can
yes.
we
I
could
could
say you're
still
kennel
hear the
trained.
squeal. I could
Oh
still
my
hear it.
God. It's
It got
so
to the point where I was
bad.
at work and I could have sworn any little like, "Eh," I was just like
Yeah. Yeah.
PTSD. I'm like, oh, make it
Looking
stop.
around like
Yeah, not fun.
so in regards to fighting, not that I give a shit about I'm cool with just continuing regular
Yeah,
conversation,
yeah,
but I know somebody somewhere is like, when the fuck are they gonna talk about fighting?
yeah.
So you're coming off of I believe it was a TKO finish against Samantha.
Yeah.
Um, that came off of you were what, a year out since your
A
last fight,
year,
right?
a year, a year and 2 months. Yeah.
Mm. So here's the thing, like, how does that feel when it's like, because a year in a sport like that, where it's like that's people talk about like ring rust and stuff like that, and
Hmm.
that's absolutely real. Like when were you still actively training for that year? Were you injured? What happened there?
Yes, definitely still active. But talking
Okay.
about ring rust, how can you have ring rust when you were never comfortable in there to begin with?
Yeah, I that's
I'm just kidding.
the like
I'm kidding. But I don't know. It just, fuck. I don't know. So I was training. I have videos of like I had a big old clip. So right after I got my surgery,
yeah.
I think I had surgery maybe a couple weeks. So let's say I broke it the first, and I had surgery the 13th or the 14th, something like that.
Hmm.
And yeah, they put a big old thing. I thought it was unnecessarily like long. I'm like, it was just my
Yeah.
hand. It was just my hand. Why doesn't my whole but whatever. Um, so I had stitches under there. I couldn't. I think it was 6 weeks or something where I just couldn't even undo anything.
Hmm.
I think maybe two. I don't remember, but I was still working out. I was still
Yeah.
training, and healthcare providers are sometimes the worst patients.
Yeah.
I knew about the sweating under there. I was like, maybe if I don't get too sweaty, it'll be fine. No, pretty sure I got infected because the scar and in this
Oh
little
yeah.
area here is like bigger,
Yeah.
and it wasn't fully healed when they took off the stitches. It was still a little bit like the top, a little bit. It was
Oh
questionable.
man.
It was
Yeah.
questionable.
Yeah.
But the steri strips held it together. But I was still training the entire time. I did what I could. When I was rolling, I had to go with trusted partners that I knew weren't gonna like be spazzy or something, so I could still kind of like
Yeah.
work around it.
Yeah.
I was active, very active.
So
I did not stop.
yeah, to that point, I don't so I fractured my finger and lost the fingernail, everything. Like it's still growing in wonky. And like
A
they
little nub.
wrapped my hand, they like wrapped it all the way. So where I couldn't where I thought like, I just don't have a finger. Like I could still close my hand, I could still do shit. And it was
Yeah.
like I'm stuck like this now. I can move like these two fingers. And it's like
Hmm.
son of a bitch. So like I can't imagine actively rolling and whatnot with the whole club on.
Yeah.
It's like that's insane. I was like elbowing a like I can't even like a medicine ball. Like I was like, I need to be
Yeah.
able to like elbow my
Do
heavy
something.
bag, like
Yeah.
because I couldn't make a fist, I couldn't close it. And it was like I just feel like I need to do something just so I feel like I'm doing something.
Uh-huh. And I had to be careful because, you know, you're like, oh, I can't do this, but I can do something
Yeah,
here.
I could
The
do. Yeah,
shock wave,
yeah.
the shock wave alone, and then you're like, maybe not that. Okay.
Let's not do that anymore.
Yeah, like, you trial and error, you kind of just test things out and just, yeah.
But like I mean, you came back and you fought. I think she has 15 fights. I think she's like 8-7. She has opponents like Zhang Wei Li. Like she's fought tough, tough like competition. It's not like she's a slouch, and you're getting in there with a vet who's seated. And I saw the finish. I didn't watch the whole fight. I'm not gonna lie. I
Yeah.
just I've seen I've seen your
It
fight
was
against
just the same. It was just the same top pressure the entire
yeah.
time. Like, you didn't
That's
miss anything.
well, like you do a good job where it's like you're very poised, but you can sense like when it's time to pull the trigger. You're patient off your back, like the Marisol fight where I believe you pulled guard there and you got the arm triangle. Like you're
Hmm.
very good off your back, and you know when kind of is time to be like, all right, let's go.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that was it's a questionable thing to do in a fight for
Yeah,
me
yeah,
specifically when they had I think I had double overs or something or no unders.
yeah,
So
yeah. You're the
I
unders.
butterflied and did like the takedown and everything. It's questionable because if that person's really good and they get out of it, guess what? You're on the bottom. You're gonna get ground and
Yeah,
pounded. Like,
yeah,
but again, it goes back to just feel. You
yeah,
just know when to do something. Which with the tall girl, Jessica, I think it was the day before or maybe 2 days before that fight week. My coach and
yeah,
I were going over like um cage pressure stuff and just like when to ride high on their armpit and
yeah,
have them basically like only
yeah.
when you
You want
think
the
about
arms.
putting the pressure
Yeah,
on their arms. And we had just run through that. Like I just started fighting. Like I'm not very experienced.
yeah, right.
um so I'm learning things on that fight. I learned a lot of things on the go. But yeah, I had just learned that whole like dragging somebody down, and I felt it in the fight and I was like, ooh, okay, boom, dragged down, took her down. It was just like learning on the go and just trusting your training, really.
And she was what was that? Yeah, she's
Huge.
she's not a short woman at all.
No, she was very tall.
Yeah,
It was in
yeah.
person where I saw her. I was like, oh, that's
That's
cool.
so. So I've only had like a couple amateur fights, but my second amateur fight, my opponent, he was a taller guy. I I'm 5'9". I didn't belong fighting light heavyweight for sure. Probably could have taken care of myself a little better, but it's what it is. And we're game planning, just get him against the fence. You want to clinch work, like just get in there. He's a taller guy, kind of the same thing. You want to limit that advantage that he has. And
Mm.
my dumbass got in there, got him against the cage, and I'm like, oh, I just felt stronger than him, and I think I was. And so I'm like, no, we're going back out center. And this is what you were just talking about, where my heel dug into the canvas and I fall backwards. He's on top of me now, and I'm like, oh shit. Like this is only my second amateur fight. Like I'm kind of lost here.
Yeah.
And he ends up where you're talking about that risk where they're now on top. I'm rolling around just trying to get this bigger guy off me, and he wins rear naked choke. And it's like, son of a bitch. Like that's that exact risk that you're
Immediately.
talking about, where it's like,
Yeah.
why didn't I just the game plan was there? And I was like, oh no, I'm stronger than this guy. We're good. And it's like, well, you're an idiot because now you lost.
You got greedy.
Yeah.
Nah. Yeah. It happens. Yeah, there's just like a feel, but I've been lucky so far. So yeah.
Well,
There's this one thing that I was doing with all my fights, and my dad loves to remind me every chance he gets.
oh god.
When I turn my back.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now I
Yep.
turn fast. I turn fast, and now it's not so safe to take my back.
Right.
But yeah, like I was fucking up royally there. Yeah, I'll admit.
Yeah.
I don't know why I kept doing that weird little twirly twirl, but it's fixed. I didn't do it this last
It's
fight, so
I didn't
I think we're
lose. Like it's
yeah,
fine.
yeah. So I think we're heading towards the right direction. It's all good.
And how do your
I don't
parents
know.
feel? Like I mean, like you said, you always kind of had like big aspirations, whether it was gymnastics,
Mm.
whatever it might be. How do your parents feel about like their daughter in a combat sport?
They were very, very concerned initially.
Yeah.
Um, but I think it was the way I approached it. Like I told them like this is what I've been doing. Um,
Hmm.
training. I've been training for a while, and the coach thinks it's a good idea for me to fight, and I agree. Like it's only the next natural step. You test myself. It's like
Yeah.
having these skill, having like theoretically, like you don't know what you're capable of until you actually go in there. So
You 100%. Yeah.
yeah, it's like you've had two amateur fights, so you at least you've been in there. You understand because everything in here is peachy, but once you get in there,
Yeah. It's
you.
it's so different. Like even on
Mm-hmm.
such like I've had two amateur MMA fights, couple like exhibition like kickboxing things like I'm not gonna sit here and be like, "Oh, I've done it," but like it's still that switch where it's like it's not the same as your training partners. It's not the same what you think and then you get in there and this
Mm-hmm.
guy's like, "You don't know shit, do you?" And it's like, right now, no, I don't. Like, you got it.
Yeah, I
And
think
it's like
it was another
finding
brother. I brought
finding
him.
that out.
Yeah, you find that out. Even just the mental aspect of being there.
Hmm.
Even for my first jujitsu competition, I was so gung ho. I think this was like 2019 or something, 2018.
Hmm.
I was gung ho to do it, and I was training hard. But the second I was waiting there on the mat, I was
Yeah.
looking for an exit. I was like, I
Yeah.
need to get the fuck out of here. Why am I doing this?
Yeah.
I had a cotton mouth. The fight or flight kicked in, and I was just like,
Hmm.
no, I don't want to be here. But then overcoming that, not so many people don't even make that step.
Right, like that step in there, right?
They don't
Like,
even know what it feels like the challenge to put yourself in a position where you're gonna fight your brain, your natural instinct to protect yourself, like
yeah.
you know. So I think that's the exciting part about fighting. But I told my parents, I was like, I'm doing this, and I would love to have your support, but if I don't, I'm still doing it. This is what it is.
Well,
Like you don't have to watch.
yeah, right.
But
Like,
yeah. Now my dad's happy. He's like, "Oh, my daughter does this." Like shows him stuff and it's
oh,
fun.
really? That's cool.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
cool. I mean, not to be like that guy, but like, I mean, it's you're Mexican, right? Like
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
that's such like an iconic culture when you're talking about like combat sports or whatnot.
Mhm.
Like, so I do feel like there is that little bit, whether or not they express that, like that's probably there for them. Like that's such a thing
Some
that
pride.
a prideful thing. Yeah. I
Yeah.
couldn't think of the damn word for
Yeah.
some reason, but
My
like just
brothers
that
and I
pride.
my brothers and I laugh because I love my dad to death. He's silly. But we love to make fun of each other like hardcore.
Yeah.
We're honestly assholes to each other. But
Yeah.
I love it. I wouldn't want it any other way. How else do you stay humble? Um, but my dad, like anytime there's a sport thing and he looks even a little bit brown, he's like, "Es mexicano!" Like, oh,
Oh,
like representation, like, yeah, like yeah, yeah.
that
So
is
we'll
really
like,
cool. That's exactly what I thought of.
yeah, yeah, it's a thing. Um, but I feel kind of bad, I'll be honest, and I'm glad I have a little bit of a platform here to kind of talk about it too, because it's like I was
Yeah.
born in El Paso, Texas.
Hmm.
My parents were born in Mexico, so I'm what, first gen.
Right.
So I'm like too American to be considered Mexican. It's like,
Uh
you're not a real Mexican. Like, you weren't born here,
yeah.
you don't understand. But then I'm here.
Right. Like,
Say something in Spanish. Dance,
oh
dance,
god.
and I'm like,
Like no.
there's no place for me here.
Yeah. Forget I brought up the Mexico thing. It's fine.
Oh no, 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 you're
No,
good.
I'm kidding.
You're
I'm
good.
kidding.
It's like I hit touch the sore spot there. No,
Yeah.
no, I'm super proud of it. But
Yeah, of
sometimes I
course.
do feel like, am I an imposter? It's like, no, you're not. It is what it is. You're just. I was privileged enough to, be born in really good circumstances. Like
Mm.
my parents came over here to give me a better life. Like I don't know what they experienced, but they felt like that was the right move, and you know, everything's worked out really nice for me. So
Yeah, I
it
mean you're not
must have
gonna
been.
yeah, you're not gonna feel
Yeah.
bad for like, oh, I'm sorry my parents wanted better for me. Like I don't
Yeah,
what do you
like
want? There's
sorry,
still
the
I'm still
decision was
Mexican.
made before
Like
I was born. Yeah,
yeah. Like,
exactly.
do you want to go meet them? I don't know what to tell you. Like I'm definitely
Yeah, like sorry, I try to go back in time. Tell them not to cross the river, I guess. I don't know.
yeah, I don't know what to tell you. One of the things that impressed me, this was actually the first thing I've seen of yours, and it was the fight before your last. It was Jillian, I believe. And you opened up, you were kind of on your back foot, like you were backpedaling, but you opened up with like a really snappy lead roundhouse. And I was like, who backs up and it's like, I'm also going to throw a high kick here, backing up. And I was like, where does that even come from? Because like you don't, that's not something you throw moving backwards ever. Like maybe you're backing up with a jab, but like I
I'm in any of my fights that I don't.
yeah.
I'm
Oh.
present, but I watched it back and I was like, oh, I landed a top like boom. She didn't give a
Yeah.
shit though. She just kept going
No,
forward.
she's I mean she's tough. Like I said, like she was constantly moving forward, and that's where that poise comes from that I was talking about earlier with you, though, where it's like you didn't really let that deter you, and that's just preparation, obviously, of course, but still that showed a little bit of everything.
But damn.
Hold on, you're cutting out a little bit. I don't know what's going on. We good? I don't know. I can't hear you. Hold on. Is it me? Is it you? I heard that.
Might be me.
Okay, I hear you now.
Speaker. Okay. Say something.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Yeah.
All right.
One headphone died, so then it kind of just went.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I was really proud of that one because mentally, like I wasn't doing too well for a very long time, and then you mix it with
Hmm.
fighting. You can hold it together until you can't, but mentally I was just kind of like a lot more nervous than I should have been. Mental, I knew I was fine, but when your body feels something else, it's like
Yeah.
fighting yourself. So, it goes back to fundamentals and doing exactly what I had been doing is just talking to myself, like, trust your training, throw a jab, move, move, throw a jab, breathe, just stay present. Which I realize I'm a very lucid fighter from the first fight.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I guess that's not a normal experience because everybody else was telling me, like, you know, once they close that door, like, they notice that.
It goes out the window. Yeah.
Yeah, I've never noticed the door closing ever.
Hmm.
It's, yeah, that's not even. I'm just staring across the cage. I'm like,
Yeah, yeah, right.
yeah,
It's like that switch just flips and it's like that's all you're thinking about. But like it's impressive because like I said, like even to have the thought where it's like trust your training, like while you're in there, like that's not something that everybody has at all. Like even me from just my little bit where it's like fuck my training, fuck my training. Like I
yeah,
just want to, I'm just swinging now.
yeah.
So like that's a testament of like that poise and whatnot that we were talking about earlier.
I'm just grateful that I do have that. I don't know how that happens. I don't know if I could credit myself for working on it because it's like it just
Yeah, is that just
was how it was from the
like it's
beginning.
just there, right?
Yeah, yeah. So I'm lucky.
Yeah, that it's just I don't, maybe it's just something you're born with. That's honestly, was it always, did you play sports growing up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love sports. Basketball was my love. I loved it. I
Hmm.
want to do that for the rest of my life. Like I'm 5'4". Come on.
Yeah.
Uh, I'm sure it's possible, but I after I had torn my ACL, like I came back a lot better. I think I was the leading scorer for the state for a while. But yeah, I don't know. After I tore my second ACL, it's just like I didn't play a game ever since
Oh,
2018.
really? Wow.
Yeah, it was almost like a breakup with like a bad breakup. I was like, fuck
Yeah,
you.
right. I mean,
All these
yeah,
years.
it's like two
Even just looking at
ACLs
a ball.
later.
Yeah. I was looking at a ball and I was like, Huey, like,
Yeah.
you did me dirty. But no, I loved basketball. It
Yeah.
was my love. After that, I didn't think I was so obsessed with it. My identity was tied to it so hardcore that yeah, there was kind of like a little bit of a rock bottom, like a loss of identity
Yeah,
between
right.
that and finding MMA, which I didn't really find another identity. Like I think that's why it's so hard for me to fall in love with it because I feel like my one love like
Like you,
that was that
the one that got away.
the
Like
one that
it's
got away.
already, it's gone.
That was the unicorn. That was my one love, and then that's that. But no, I'm starting to find a love for MMA now. I feel like I'm letting myself get
Yeah.
attached. Like
Yeah. It's like,
my walls down. Yeah, but I
how
played.
did,
What happened?
go ahead.
Sorry.
No, go ahead. Finish that
I
thought
played,
and then we'll get into it.
I played volleyball. I did some soccer. Track. I love track.
Hmm.
That was fun. So I loved running. I just had to be active my entire life. I almost was in football in middle school.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we were getting our pads measured, and my dad was like, "No, you're gonna get
Yeah,
hurt.
yeah.
Basketball's your thing." Like, no.
Yeah.
I was like, "Please, before everybody hits puberty and everything is like even right now, it's
Right.
gonna happen."
Yeah,
But
no, we had when I was in middle school, we had one female on the football team. And she
ooh,
also did wrestling, which was like now there's both, but like she was really the only one that I knew up until like
mm-hmm.
just a few years ago that was wrestling in like schools and whatnot. So
Like a
credit to
pioneer.
her. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like I don't
that's
know if anybody else was around here, but she was the only one I knew.
uh-huh. That's awesome. I wish I would have done that.
Yeah, that was one thing that like it's so stupid, but like being a guy like growing up, I was like those singlets. I'm not put on a fucking singlet, and now I'm like, I wish I would have just fucking put on the stupid ass singlet and went out and wrestled. Like that would have been great.
I
Like it was so
totally
stupid.
get that. It is very interesting to that is the outfit of choice.
Yeah, and I was just like, I don't know, like boy growing up, like trying to figure things
Yeah.
out, and it's like I'm not putting that thing on.
You're already self-conscious of your body. Now you gotta like
Yeah,
outline.
every teenage guy is like they're going through everything at once. I'm not putting on a singlet, no way.
Hmm.
But like now I'm like I wish I did that. And it's the same thing with football and whatnot. Like I could just bring that to my son if he comes forward with something where I'm like, buddy, it's a singlet. Like everybody wears a fucking singlet. It's not nobody is even looking at you in that. They don't care. They're focused on what they need to do, which is beat you. So if you're in this, like don't worry about the damn singlet. Worry about the guy across from you and just like
Yeah.
conversations like that nobody was gonna have that with me at all.
Hmm. But now you know
So
better. You get to help
yeah,
people.
that's
Yeah.
exactly it. Um, what was I? Oh, so you brought up like jujitsu tournaments. Is that what led you? Did you start? You were just kind of training to see how it went, and then one thing led to another, jujitsu to MMA. Like essentially, what makes you want to get punched in the face for a living? Like, it's that switch, like that. How do you get from two
Hmm.
torn ACLs to I'm never gonna do any sport again, and then it's like, but there's also this sport out there.
You know, from feeling dead inside, it was the closest thing. Series, I thought about it. So I loved training, and I was lifting weights, and I was just bored. I was like, this is like,
Yeah,
and I would
yeah,
play like 5 6 hours basketball before,
yeah.
uh, just pick up games in college. They would turn off. I would stay so late that they would turn off the lights on us, and I was like,
Oh wow.
fine, I'll go back to my dorm, I guess. Whatever. But my friend in nursing school, she's like, hey, come to kickboxing class with me, and I was like, oh, okay, I'll try it.
Hmm.
I just I immediately fell in love with it. It was fun getting yelled at to do something.
Yeah, yeah.
Where that comes from, I don't know. I'd probably have to ask my therapist. Why does it make you happy when someone yells at you? It's just lights a fire.
Right.
I don't know why, but just doing that, hitting something.
Hmm.
Maybe growing up with three brothers, there was a natural aggression. I mean, growing up, I was always told like, "Why are you so aggressive?" And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Right.
I don't know what you're talking about. Just kidding. Say it again. There's so many people that have stories of me. They're like, yeah, I remember when I first met you, like you tackled me or just like random stuff.
Yeah, like
Put me in a chokehold. I'm
yeah.
like, you punched me in the stomach or in the arm, and I'm like,
Yeah.
bro, I thought I was a
Like
shy kid, and all these stories are coming out. And I'm like, I'm so
right.
unhinged. I didn't even know.
Yeah, like I need more therapy than I thought.
Yeah, exactly. But they loved it. It seems to be
Right,
fun.
yeah.
Yeah, like when I first started fighting, you get all these random messages like, dude, I knew like this is so natural for you. Like, I'm not surprised.
That's so insane.
But then you have
I
people that
was like,
are so sweet and quiet. I never saw this.
yeah, right.
Hmm,
Yeah, one of
okay.
you motherfuckers is lying.
Yeah. Or I'm just a good chameleon and I showed a different each person. But so then I started doing, let's say they invited me to like the MMA classes, like a team team class.
Hmm.
I started doing that. I loved it. And then there was some point in jujitsu where I don't like things when they make me uncomfortable. I don't like it when it has control over me.
Yeah.
So I'm like, nah, now I have to figure this shit out.
Yeah, right.
There's points where, in jujitsu, you feel suffocated.
Hmm.
And I didn't like that feeling. I was like, no, fuck no. I need to get a hold of this. Like, And there was one day where I was being put in a choke position and it was uncomfortable. But I was
Yeah.
like, take me to the deep end. I don't give a shit. You can't break me.
Right.
I just felt like this weird sense of power of like, it was intoxicating. It was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. Right. Like,
maybe I was hypoxic. I don't know.
like
Who knows? But it was that power. There was a sense of power of like, you're gonna have to put me out for me to like, you know,
yeah.
give a shit. Like I now have control over my those natural feelings of like, I need to get out of this.
I
I
need
need to
to get
pass. Like,
yeah. Yeah.
yeah, no.
So I think there was something there that just started brewing. I was like, this is intoxicating. I like this kind of growth. And that doesn't
Mm,
happen without being put into terribly uncomfortable positions.
yeah.
So,
Yeah. I
you
mean,
know,
that's
together.
like, I mean, even outside of like MMA or jujitsu, like just having that, anything that you feel uncomfortable with, you're going to want to get out of. And you can either
Mhm.
do it the way where it's like, let me just get the fuck away from this thing, or it's like, well, now I have to persevere and try to like grow into this thing and
Mhm.
fight that uncomfortability. And some people have that, and other people are like, no, I'm good. I'll do my little 7-day trial class, and I'm gonna get the fuck out of here because
Yeah,
this guy just wrapped me up nonstop, and that
that
wasn't fun for me.
was terrible. I heard
Yeah,
some stories like that. They're like, no.
yeah,
Like,
that's the thing. It's like not everybody has that thing where it's like they wanna face that uncomfortable. Like a lot of
mhm.
people are like, no, fuck that, and that's I don't know if it's their upbringing where they were comfortable a lot of the times and people like us just aren't comfortable a lot of the times. I don't fucking know.
Like, let off
But
the hook.
like,
Oh, it's okay if you
yeah. Yeah.
don't.
That's exactly it. And it's like, I don't know, maybe that's what you're used to. I didn't have that. So like for me, my the biggest thing somebody told me was like, "Oh, you're fine with getting punched." It's like, but I need you to not be fine with getting punched because somebody's going to hit you hard enough where it's like you're
What?
gonna go out, and it's like, yeah, I could see that. Like,
Yeah. You
there's
can't,
a certain point where toughness just isn't enough.
you can't overcome biology. Like,
Yeah, that's exactly it.
hit hard enough, it's gonna turn off, regardless of
Yeah,
how much you have. Like,
yeah, right.
you are a blood bag. Like,
Yeah, it doesn't matter who you are.
mhm. Which is crazy to think. Like, there's fighters that are amazing, but
It's
the whole glass chin theory, or I don't know. I mean,
yeah,
that's just so shit.
yeah,
God,
yeah. Like it's so weird where it's like these guys, and it doesn't look like they're getting hit super hard. They're just like tapped, and it's like they shut off, and it's like, what is? And they're so talented. It's like
yeah.
damn, like, and you can't change that. It's how do you train that?
I wonder if it's just the brain just already knowing, like, nope, we're gonna protect
Yeah,
ourselves.
yeah, that's
Do this. So,
yeah, yeah, that hurt, and we're not gonna do that again. So we're
yeah,
out. I think
yeah.
that's the theory behind it is like whether it's because you've been hit enough times or something, but like something where your brain's just like, no, like that's
I've been
enough of that.
want to protect.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh.
I like that challenge.
Mhm.
But then there's also, I feel like I talk about this a lot, but uh, the whole depression thing. Like, I was so I literally dissociated so much, and I feel things so deeply, and I'm like very bubbly and love life and stuff. But then
Yeah.
I had a thing where it would just like turn off, and it was
Yeah.
weird because it felt like I had no control over it, and I called it the blues. I'm like, it's happening again, and it just felt like things would just kind of get gray, just
Yeah.
like Halloween. Have you seen Halloween Town?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I imagine. Like, that's what.
That's yeah.
And like being in the cage, just or be practicing, I didn't understand why I was depressed. I didn't understand why I wanted to kill myself. I didn't understand why I felt it felt like grief. Like if somebody
Yeah.
killed a dog or something terrible happened. Just randomly it just felt like that. Like, where the fuck is this coming from? So when I was training, I'm like, this feels normal. Like, this makes
Mm.
sense. This pain makes sense. And you can't think of anything else other than what you're doing at the time, you know?
Yeah,
So
right.
then it becomes addictive doing stuff like that. So I think that's also kind of where, yeah, it's just weird. I almost felt like a cheat code, but with a superpower that you don't want. It's like a curse.
Yeah, right. Like I don't want that one, but it's here. So it's like
Yeah, and that
yeah.
pain to me.
Yeah, I get that completely.
Yeah.
Um that's another thing that like so I always thought about this. I've talked about like mental health and like the NFL with, an NFL linebacker, obviously male. And it was just like, that's such an alpha male sport that like, it's kind of like taboo to talk about your mental health, and these athletes don't want to talk about it. And then like, I think about it for a sport like mixed martial arts, like boxing, and there's women involved. And then you also have that mental health. And then there's also the guys who are fucking idiots and they're like, oh, I would never want a woman who's like manly. And it's like, it's not, you know exactly what I'm referring to. And like Megan Anderson is a big example where, she's a tall woman and guys were on podcasts. They're like, oh, she's way too tall. And then she's manly. And it's like, they don't, there's already enough like stigma in regards to an alpha male sport and mental health, and that it's like you don't have to pile on with stupid ass things like that. Yeah, you're just driving it in. Exactly.
Yeah. All for let's be honest, because they're uncomfortable. It's
That's exactly.
in their brain and they just want to like
Yeah.
press it. Like what the fuck?
Like what was the point of any of that? Like none of it's
Yeah.
necessary.
Yeah. It's just weird
And
to me.
I've always wondered if it was like magnified, as a woman in a alpha male type sport, where it's like, do you ever have those feelings where it's like, obviously you're talking about depression and whatnot outside of that, and then like, does that ever pile on, or is it just like, no, this is like home for me, like you said? So
No, I've my whole life I've been like I was a tomboy. Like I
yeah.
felt really I mean, I grew up with three brothers. I was always way more comfortable with guys. Not really girly. Like I love to dress up and be girly, but for the most part, I feel way more comfortable with dudes. So it
Yeah.
was just like a natural thing. So when a girl does come into the gym, it does kind of get a little weird because I'm used to being the
Yeah.
only girl to the point
Yeah.
where I myself as the girl. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's just
Right.
weird. Oh,
It's a weird thing.
yeah.
That's like,
Luckily,
I've always wondered that,
yeah.
because even like the gym that I was at, it was super small, and occasionally like a female might pop in and just do like a pop in, nothing really too crazy. And obviously to us it's just like, that's a training partner. Like you're no different than him, me, like. And then I wonder how, like, from that perspective, if they feel the same way, or if it's like, shit, I'm surrounded by men. And it's like, I'm sure for some women that is the case, who aren't like you, who grew up with boys and brothers and, everything else. So I always wondered just the way, from that perspective, how they might feel about
There is a weird. This is interesting the way you worded it too.
that.
Um, because I mean, it's not all fun and games. Like you
Right.
have you have guys that they don't know how to separate the sexuality with the sport, and
Mm.
then you start to that little radar starts to go off. Like I kind of feel like this is a predator. You know,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I don't feel you start to not feel comfortable, but
yeah. Mm.
I think that was also kind of like my problem initially. Because you as a woman, like you encounter that everywhere. Especially like my husband always tells me, he's like, I'm so sorry, like this is how the world works because I'm super bubbly, I'm loving, I will open up and I like just want to share love in general.
Yeah, right.
People misread that and
Yeah.
they start to make advances. Or they yeah, just stuff like that. It's like, oh well, she's asking for it, or stupid shit like that.
Yeah, it's the dumbest shit.
Mm-hmm. So then you end up having to be closed off and be like a bitch just
Yeah,
to keep
right.
which is not fair. Like that's not cool. Like why can't we just literally be cordial, like be cool and
Yeah.
have conversations and just stuff like that. So I have had those issues where somebody thought I was too nice and then they thought they were
Mm.
advanced. I've had people message me because you know you react to things on Instagram or like
Yeah.
emoji, like those six set react
Yeah, just the ones that are just, yeah, 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 the
yeah,
preset reactions.
set reactions. And you're
Yeah.
just trying to life interact with people. And I had this one dude like send me a big fucking paragraph
Oh Jesus.
lecturing me about I'm just trying to save your marriage, blah blah
Oh
blah.
my God. It's so fucking.
I was like, I felt so. what I was mad about initially is I had this guilt thing of like, oh my God, like I'm embarrassed. I feel shameful. I feel like, oh my God, I did this. And I was like, no, you fucking did it.
Yeah, right. Like this guy's just a fucking idiot.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's
That
what
was
it
not
comes down to.
yourself. Like, not at all what you were doing. So
No.
first of all, fuck off with that energy.
Well,
Yeah.
that's like even when I messaged you, it kind of sucks because I'm never looking to like it's when I'm going into people's DMs, it's literally just like I want to have a conversation with you. I'm interested in what brought you to this point. And then there's guys that aren't like that, and it just kind of fucking like ruins it for people who are like me. I'm just like, literally, I don't give a fuck, and like I'm literally just trying to have a fun conversation, and it is weird because like I intentionally wanted to speak to a female in the sport like that. I wanted that, so I was sending these DMs, and I'm like, how many of these women are like, fuck this guy because of some other guy? Where it's like,
Yeah.
I'm married with a son. Like I promise I don't give a fuck about you in that aspect. Like I just want to talk the sport and have a conversation. And it's like, it sucks because of those people that made the shitty advances, the shitty DMs, and like they force, like you said, those walls to come up, and in that
Yeah.
in that light.
And you have to be careful, like, because you
Yeah.
never take it a step further
Right.
or
Right.
endanger in a sense, you know. So
Yeah.
it's is that little bit annoying thing that is just like, ugh.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I'm not gonna lie,
So,
it's not all, cotton candy and whatever, but for the
yeah, of
most
course not.
it is just like that. Like I love my team. One of my
Mm.
teammates, he always loves to remind me. He's like, "Yeah, from when the moment you got here, I wanted to make sure you were comfortable and that you
Yeah.
did and that like you're safe here." I was just like, "Damn!" So they know too, like shit
Right,
like that.
they're I mean, they're
No,
not yeah, anybody who's in anything where it's like training, not even just that, but like one-on-one personal trainers, just like masseuse, like everybody understands that feeling. So it's like they never want, unless they're assholes, they never want you to experience that. So
hmm
it's the same exact thing. And it
there's
sounds
also
like you got yourself a good team there, so that's good.
there's also that side of like you're a woman in fighting. Oh, but you're
Yeah.
good looking. You need to kind of put that narrative too.
Fuck
Eh,
off.
Even if I was, I would not. No, like
No.
no, I do what I want with my body. Like no.
Yeah, I don't need that to push what I'm doing here. And
Yeah.
you don't. I mean, and more power to whoever the fuck is. I don't give a shit about that. But like, it's not like this necessary thing that everybody thinks it is, where it's like, oh, you should be on social media more doing this. It's like, for what? I'm a fighter and a nurse. I'm not selling anything else. Like,
Yeah.
that's my job.
Yeah. That's probably the hard like shift is you are technically a product,
Yeah, yeah,
and that's how money comes in is exposure, et cetera, et cetera. And it's just kind of like the name of the game, I
yeah.
guess.
And I get it. It makes sense, but it's just like the fact that there's so many people that approach it with the idea of like, okay, well now you need to do this. It's like, all right, we're using the word need a little too fucking loose here. Like,
Yeah.
it's definitely not a need. But
Which my
yeah,
husband pointed it out like a couple years ago. He's like, "What is with this word should? Should
yeah, like should.
who? According to who? According to what? Like I'm just like, this is true. It's an unseen force that I feel like I should.
Yeah, right. Like, it's so stupid.
Yeah.
So what we are, I mean, I think we're about close to 2 hours here, which is hour and a half, something like that. Is there anything that you would like to
Oh,
plug or bring to the table? Anything at all? Feel wait, I have all. We can add another 2 hours. I don't
I was like, whoops, time.
care.
Awesome. But
No, I mean, yeah, go ahead.
oops.
Oh.
Phone's over on me 20%. Well then. Um, so like back to that, being a woman in this sport,
Yeah.
like male did, I do get those like I've had teammates ask me like, how does your husband feel about this? I'm like,
That's a big one.
feel
Yeah.
about being no, you rolling around with men, like them touching you, them stuff. I'm like, ugh, why you gotta put it like that? Like that, not
Yeah.
it's not sexual. We're
It's
here
not.
ourselves, and it's a combat sport. Like
Yeah.
you think people are like cat? I hope not, but trying to like you know,
Yeah,
you like
like take it. That's not. And there's even like I'm glad you brought that up because even like men that I know, like military guys, they'll come back and they're telling stories. And these are guys that I know, and they're talking to each other. And he's like, we were watching, I think it was just not UFC, but like one of the smaller events. It was back when they would play them on like TNT or USA, whatever the hell it was. And they're watching and they're wrestling and they're like, I always hate when guys on base are like, you want to roll? And it's like, no, I don't want to roll. And I'm like, why are you looking at it like that? Like, you're two guys on a military base. Just, I feel like you're the one making it weird. And I feel like that's exactly, and I would imagine that somebody would magnify that for you or any woman where it's like, oh, your husband allows it. And it's like, what are you talking about? I'm not doing anything. I'm trying to get better at the fucking sport. That's it.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Or just the concept of your husband lets you, and like
Yeah.
I'm so sorry for everybody who has that kind of relationship because
Yeah.
no letting, it's a partnership, it's a supporting thing. Like,
Right.
you know,
Like I hate the idea of like letting, like, we're both adult human beings. Like, it's not a permission thing. Now if I feel like it's something maybe I should bring up in regards to my wife to her, or she feels like she can bring it up to me, fine. But it's not like a fucking permission slip. Like, oh, can I go to jujitsu? Am I allowed to do that today? Like,
yeah, then
it's
out of
so insane.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, that's
yeah.
exactly it.
But
Like,
other, I don't know. Well, people just, I feel like an asshole sometimes because I'll think like, you hear yourself when you're talking.
yeah, yeah, right. Like, are you not aware of like what you're saying, or like,
Like,
or how you're saying it? Maybe you don't mean it this way, but like the way you're saying it is fucking insane.
yeah, I don't know. But I think that's the cool thing too, is like once you start having those thoughts, it's like, oh, they're exposing
Yeah.
more about who you are than you than
Yeah.
that has nothing to do with you. That was probably one of the
Mm.
most freeing things. I kid you not. I finally felt like that in October for Halloween. I heard a rumor, caught myself defending myself, and I was like, wait, what the fuck are you defending? No,
Yeah, right.
that's not true. Why do you even care? Like, no.
Right. That's
Yeah.
exactly it. Like, I'm good. Fuck it. Run with it, I guess. I don't know what to tell you. Like, you're at
Mm-hmm.
that point, anything I say, you already have like this preconceived notion anyway. So why the fuck am I gonna sit here and defend myself from whatever the hell you have in your head? And that is a freeing thing to have. Not everybody has that either. Like, a lot of people do take what fucking idiots say to heart, and it's like, I wish you wouldn't. Like, because these guys, they they get off on that shit. A lot of people just love starting it or spreading it, whatever it might be.
Do you ever go down those Instagram comment rabbit holes?
Oh god. Like, yeah. I
You
wish
try to
I didn't.
constantly, oh,
Yeah, like,
oh, people are curious. Ew.
yeah,
Yeah, it's bad.
it's awful. Like,
Yeah.
I'm glad, like, I would I don't really I wouldn't I can't say that. But like the idea of having a shit ton of people like under anything that I post and just arguing amongst themselves and everything else, like, I'm glad I don't have that at this moment. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
fuck off, all of you guys.
yeah.
Do that shit somewhere else and I'll read it there. Like, I don't want to read it on my shit. I want to read it on somebody else's shit.
Uh-huh. Weirdest thing. That's also like goes back to the whole for fighting. Like everybody has an opinion.
Yeah,
You have to
everybody.
be careful who you listen to. First of all, you're not going to please everybody. Second of all, why would you want to?
Yeah, that's
Um,
exactly it.
if it's not coming from my coach's mouth, I
I mean,
trust him with,
even what you said,
you know.
yeah, even what you said, just like in regards to your parents, where it was like, I'm going to do this thing. Like, you don't have to love it. You don't even have to watch it, but like, that's what I'm going to do. And you would say that to mom and dad. At what point, why the fuck would you care what, like, oh, being allowed by a significant other would do? Like, what do you guys don't fucking think about any of this? Like,
Yeah, there's such exceptions until you like melt it all together and you're like, wait a minute, it's all
yeah, right. It's
station.
all one. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, oh
Oh.
shit, what was that? Well, I, I'm, I'm good. I don't know.
Have I talked your ear off enough?
No, I, I don't really have anything else really prepared.
Mhm.
Um, I, what do you have as far as, I know you just got done with a fight. Are you looking at a quick turnaround? Are you looking at, because I know like I said, that was over a year layoff, and then you
Yeah,
go in, you get the finish. It's like, I want that again, or is it like, let's map this out?
I do. Everything just worked out so well. I honestly
Hmm.
could not have imagined a better fight camp, fight week, everything. It was just insanely good.
Yeah,
And yeah, I actually really enjoyed it. So I was like, I want
that's
to end. I
yeah,
finally felt that high that people were talking about in terms of I felt like I had the giggles the whole week after. I was like, ooh, ooh, ooh. When I got out of the airport, I was outside, Spokane air, like threw my hands up and it
yeah,
felt good. And
yeah.
I'm one to, make myself small, just okay, act like you've been there. So yeah. That's how I was raised and how I felt. I don't feel comfortable being the object in the room, or at
Yeah,
least
right.
asking for it, like,
Yeah,
no. But
yeah.
or like, yes. I felt proud, and that's a rare feeling for me.
Right.
So just with that, the way I was feeling, I was like, let's go again.
That's what I was wondering. Like, is that quick turnaround? Like, when you're feeling that, it's like, coach, I need. Does your coach so?
Put me in.
Yeah, for being coach, literally, like,
Yeah.
and is your coach like same thing? Is it just like, is it going how you feel, or I know you trust obviously your coach with everything.
Yeah.
Is it based on your feel? Is it based on like where he thinks everything is? Is it kind of a combination, obviously?
I, who am I fighting? Like, he just
Yeah,
picks. Well, I don't know how it works out in behind the curtains or whatever, but
yeah,
he tells
probably
me
for the
that.
best.
Yeah,
Yeah, keep me out of that shit.
keep me out of it. I'm a soldier and I'm ready.
Yeah.
Um, I just trust him with everything. But we almost had a fight last week. I think I don't know. It was something crazy, like a week after or 2 weeks.
Oh
I think it was
wow.
after my fight or 2 weeks. Yeah, that one fell
Yeah.
through.
Close.
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 For a second, like I remember I was at work when he gave me the call. He's like, "Welcome to the crazy world of fighting," and I was like, "What?" I was like,
Yeah, yeah,
"What's going on?"
yeah.
And and then the acceptance, it comes in because the initial
Yeah.
like, oh, and then you're like, "All right, like
Yeah,
let's
yeah, yeah.
get
Like,
again,"
yeah.
because there's something intoxicating about being obsessive and everything's calculated and having a goal in mind and just like going. For me, like that's intoxicating.
Yeah,
So,
right.
all right, let's go again. But it fell through. But yeah, I almost did fight again, like not to
like again, like leaving the airport and then it's like, and we're back.
essentially.
Yeah, like literally. Do you do like, do you have a pretty big weight cut, or are you pretty close walk around,
So
give or take?
I think the average is
Yeah.
about I walk around 20 pounds heavier than the weight.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
So
yeah. So not, I mean, yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not like that's nothing to scoff at by any
No,
means.
no,
Like
not at
that's
all.
I don't know if people understand like what goes into that. You know, when these guys you see these guys miss weight and you're like, these guys didn't want I mean, there's some exceptions to this, but they didn't want to miss that weight. Like they agreed to this weight and it sucks because chances are is you fucking gave a lot to and even just like you said 20 pounds that's not a small amount of weight at all to cut and these guys there's guys that do like double that and it's like fucking what are you guys doing you psychopaths.
Same. Like a similar percentage, but like
Mm.
for like a small person, that's a
Yeah,
big percentage of your
that's
body weight.
huge. That's a lot.
Yeah.
So when you're like
I was mega
you
lean.
know
Never been that lean in my life, and I have been super active my entire life. But getting
yeah
my on point, getting the strength and conditioning on point, getting my whole fight camp on point, like the training partners and just the intensity of it, it was amazing. And my body was transforming. Like you don't do it to look better, but when you
yeah
see you're forming into this thing,
it's like you're a completely different person. Like
yeah,
you go from like human to machine.
it is wild.
Yeah.
And it was very cool to see, especially like if you lose, it sucks. But when
Yeah,
you win,
of course.
like,
Yeah. It all paid off. Like
uh-huh.
everything paid off. Like
Yeah.
so that is like just hearing your coach say like welcome to the crazy world of fighting and it's like like, you're
Yeah.
going right back to that weight cut and maybe it's not, you know, the exact 20 pounds, but I can't imagine it's much further off when you're hydrated. You're back to like you think you're done with fight camp and whatnot. You're kind of in your obviously you're always staying lean and in shape, but
I would
like,
not eat in the way that I did. It
yeah,
would be a lot easier, but
yeah.
I overdid it. I ate to the point where I wanted to throw up. I was in a constant
Oh,
state of I feel like throwing up. But that
yeah.
look, let me eat that. I'm like, what is wrong with you?
Stop.
It's like that marshmallow game, like how much more do you want?
Yeah, yeah.
So bad. But it tastes so good. It was so I was consulting the person that I had worked with, Fuel Your Fight Camp, Lately. She
Yep.
made it the smoothest. I didn't even know it felt better cutting to 115 than I
Hmm.
did to 125s or
Oh
the
no
one.
way.
It
Yeah.
was insane. I was like, this is, and I was still eating. I was feeling really
Right.
good.
Like it's not like you're not eating. Like
One of the other girls that was there in Combate for the all girl turn or all girl card.
all girl card, yeah.
She's like, oh man, yeah, not eating. She was talking about her experience, and I was like, I ate.
Yeah,
Yes.
like what are you
She looked at me like, are you fucking kidding me? Like
yeah.
food. You had like I didn't even have water, and I was just like,
Water, yeah. Right. Like
oh yeah, I've been relative because I paid a lot of money for somebody to do the hard part, meant like
your-
the
yeah,
equation.
all
Yeah,
your measurements and whatever the fuck goes into that. And it's like, nah.
exactly.
Like
Another
I'll sign the check.
professional. I'm like,
Yeah,
trust.
that's I mean that's really what it comes down to is just surrounding yourself with whether it's your main coach and then your nutrition and everything else. And sometimes you're gonna have to throw money at it, but it's like at that point, whatever the fuck makes my job easier, I'll
Yeah,
sign the check at that point. Like,
oh,
here you go for it.
yeah. Investment. Like, what's the alternative? Trying to figure it out on your own. You put so
Yeah,
much
you're
work into
measuring and
it because your nutrition's not right.
yeah,
You the last part that you need is that weight cut. You've done the work.
yeah, yeah.
Could you mess it up? And
And
then you go on stage and you're gonna feel like shit. Like,
right, you're sluggish, whatever the fuck it is. Yeah. And then like and even that, like, why do you want to add something else? Like it's already hectic enough where you're waking up at fucking three
yeah,
something in the morning. Like, why am I going to add something else when I can just somebody I trust, somebody who's been there and done that. Like, please put this together for me for the love of fuck. Something can be out of my control. It's that like
yeah,
nutrition is so fucking. It's important, and it's just like it's very like mathematical, and I don't think people understand like what goes into what you're putting into your body, especially for getting like fight ready.
And the timing and
Yeah.
quality and all that. So I will say initially I was like having a hard time with the trust thing because I was eating 1,500 calories, not losing weight, and I'm like, how much more can like am I gonna go to 13?
Yeah, like
Like I can't even train right. I feel like crap, but I think I started with her 4 or 5, 6 weeks before my fight. Pretty
mm,
close, changed things up. And she's like, dude, you should at least be eating 2,000 or like 2,200. I'm like,
yeah, what
whole 2 meals, a whole ass meal, like big extra, and to lose weight.
yeah.
I was like, again, the heart thing. I was like,
Yeah.
oh no, man, I don't. This is hard. I.
Yeah,
It
that's
almost
a
felt like
lot.
eating disorder style. I was like, I can't. I can't. No. The idea
Yeah.
of eating food was making me anxious. I was like, no. I totally trusted her, and I was like, again, just trust them, trust a professional, just do what you're being told.
Yeah.
And it went perfectly. Like I honestly can't express how great it was.
Yeah, that's that's so like, and it's such a weird thing because you think like combat sport 1v1, like it's just me and this person. There's no, I
Mhm.
can't blame my teammate for not catching a pass or whatever the hell it might be, but it's like you have to trust everybody outside of there just as much as you trust like a guy catching a pass or throwing you the pass, whatever it might be, because like that shit, all of that is like going into all of this, and it's such a weird dynamic where, again, I don't think people understand that either, where this is definitely, it's not a team sport, but there's a fucking team here.
You might be the only one in there, but it takes so many.
Yeah,
Even just to get into
so
the
much.
at this
Yeah.
point, I've broken my hand twice
Mm,
because I healed from April. I was getting ready for another fight in November, and then I broke it again in October, and I was like, bruh, what the
yeah.
and for the hand surgeon to be like, we're gonna be more careful this time. And I was like, so it's not 12 weeks, it's gonna be more. And she's
Right.
like,
Jeez.
like
That's
and
son of a bitch.
live and exercise, it kind of takes a toll on you. But I
Mhm.
was like, I'm just so used to grinding. I'm like, whatever. What do I need to do? So
Right.
to me, the cage, I was like, oh, thank God, I'm in here.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm in here.
That's exactly it.
Not
Oh,
a
well,
cake. So yeah.
yeah, yeah. Well, your microphone is cutting out.
Oh
I don't know
no.
what that is, so I think God is telling.
What?
I thought it was just me, and then I'm like, I can't tell, so I don't want to get too much further in, and then have to cut like, maybe there's something good out. So,
That's
but
fine.
I like even that I didn't hear what the hell you just said.
Tear.
It's only just started. We're good. We're good. But I do appreciate you coming on, and I'm looking forward to seeing what's next from you. Uh, Hopefully you enjoyed whatever the hell this is.
Yes, yes, conversation. Two
That's
humans coming together having a
well, that's
conversation.
literally like that's I don't like I have a hard time doing like interview. You know what I mean? Like, okay, so what
Hmm.
is this? I like having somebody like that can bounce back and feed off and tell stories, and it's just like for me that's what this is. Like very I don't want the boring interview. I'm sorry. Like I
I'm
struggle
the
with
same
that.
way. Hmm.
So I
Yeah.
appreciate you coming on, and I am looking forward to what is next from you. Do you have anything you want to plug? Anything at all that you want to promote?
I
Anything?
don't at the moment, really.
There's really not
Surprisingly,
much going
yeah.
on. I mean, you just got out of a fight. It's not that surprising.
Yeah. I'm just excited. I finally get to see my parents. They're flying in next week and gonna enjoy
Oh,
4th of
really?
July with them. Yeah. Yeah.
That'll be nice.
It's a great thing. I cannot wait to just spoil them and have fun.
Yeah. So what's that?
Yeah.
So obviously they're not with you there. Um,
Hmm.
what is that dynamic even like now that I just said, oh, I don't want to cut anything else out, but here we go.
Dude, I'm ready for anything. Keep it going.
No, but like what's that dynamic like where, you're training all the time, they're not here with you, and then is it just like obviously the mom and dad, like there's no or is it like I do miss them? I do wish they were here more often. Or they want to
Yes.
see me more often, whatever it might be. And then does that hit you harder in those times where you're in fight camp and you're working harder? It's like son of the dragon.
It doesn't. Sounds cold, but out
No,
of sight,
that's
out of mind.
mm,
Um, I just put my head down and I train and I train and I train and it's easy to kind of get lost in it.
yeah,
But when I do call them
yeah.
and then I every time I see them again, it's like ripping the band-aid off again and it just fucking hurts.
Are
And
they
I
in
see them
Texas?
getting older in no, New Mexico.
New Mexico still? Okay.
Yeah. And I see them getting older and it kills me. It guts me. So
Mm,
it's I think it's almost like a form of dissociation, you know? Just like yeah, it's
yeah,
just like a form. I love my parents to death so much that it hurts to think about them, you know? I
yeah,
wish I could create like a house next to me or something or just have them in
yeah,
house
yeah.
with me. I would love to be able to like house them, not have my dad work and just let them live their life and like basically have them be my children, you know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I would
right.
love that. I would
Let's
love
role
that.
reverse here. Let me take care of you. You did enough for
Yes.
me. Like, yeah, yeah, yeah. I get that.
That would literally be a dream come true to become so wealthy that I can just take care of them
Just
like
just hold it down. Like
my
hold
children.
down mom
Yeah.
and dad. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
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 Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I get
Like
that completely.
they helped me. They always I grew up them taking care of everything. They're like cuz I think I had a curiosity of like getting a job or something. Like
Mhm.
no, focus on your schools, on your school work, focus on sports, give everything you can. We take care of this stuff. You do you, focus on scholarships, getting into a good school. And they always were like taking care of me
Yeah.
to
That's
the
huge.
max. Yeah.
Yeah.
So now it's kind of like, yeah, you know, my two older brothers moved away to Arizona. They're at home now. Like they once the last horse left because we had horses at home, they didn't
Mhm.
get any more horses because it's a lot of you know maintenance and stuff. And it's
That
just kind of
mate,
like
yeah.
yeah, things are starting to slowly change. And it's just like, fuck, times
And
are
you notice,
changing.
yeah, you notice it like you could see your parents getting older, and then it's like you could see they're looking at, you know, they want less responsibility, and that's when it hits you like, damn, like why do they want less responsibility? Like,
Yeah, things are changing
yeah, yeah,
and time's going and you can't stop it. So that's why I'm
yeah.
so excited to have them come next week. I'm like, I cannot wait to show them just everything and just spoil the shit out of them.
How how old are they, if you don't mind me asking?
My mom's 30 years older than me.
Okay,
So
okay,
yeah, she's about to turn 60 this year.
okay,
My dad's a year younger than her. Oh,
okay.
and a funny story lying to her about his age. But yeah, they're 30 years older and
Yeah,
yeah, it's just it's weird, man.
it is. My
And it's
mom.
hard for me to think of myself as 30 already. And my younger brother, the youngest one in the group, is 3 years younger than me. Like we're all about to be out of our 20s. Like
Everybody's, yeah.
fucking blows your mind.
That's a weird thing. Yeah, my
Hmm.
mother passed away in September or August, I want to say, and she
Hmm.
was 50 or under 50. Like I have a very
Wow.
young family, and like my grandmother was young when she passed away. It's a really weird thing that you think about, and you try not to, obviously,
Yeah,
because why the fuck do you want to think about that?
it
But
hurts.
like, yeah, you're like everybody, the 20 years, like she was only
Yeah.
20 years older than what I am now, and it's like that's a weird thing to consider.
She's not even my mom, and I want to cry for you. Like that's
I
like just the
yeah, no,
idea.
it's a weird thing. It's very weird. She
Yeah.
was hypertension, like high blood pressure and stuff, which
Oh no.
yeah, yeah,
Stroke
that's
or
yeah,
heart attack.
heart attack.
Heart
Yeah,
attack. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, she had a whole
Fuck.
bunch of like stents in her chest, like heart and whatnot. So it gets to a point where the cliche where it's like at least you're not dealing with that anymore, and it's like
Suffering anymore.
it's
Yeah.
true though, like because those hospital trips, like hospital all the time and shit, it sucks. So
A lot
yeah,
becomes your life. Yeah.
yeah,
There
yeah.
was a podcast I was listening to. I just finished listening to a podcast about grief, And
Uh-huh.
they talk about how it's so weird once you surpass your parents' age, once they did pass, how it's like,
Yeah.
oh shit, like they were this age. Like it's just like this weird mind fuck.
Yeah, that's like yeah, that's why I was wondering. I'm like, how I always wonder about like just because I come from such a young family. And when people
Hmm.
start talking about their parents, I'm like, how old are your parents? Like, because it's a weird thing. Like, that's 20 years apart from me. Like, I'm
Hmm.
31. I'm young. I feel young. I feel healthy. I feel fine. And then you're
Yeah.
wondering, like, when I hit 50, am I going to be like, oh shit, like, this was mom's age? And it's like, yeah,
Yeah.
51, like you just said, like, oh, I passed it. And it's like, do you celebrate that? Or you're like, damn, she was young. Like, it's like,
Yeah.
God damn, how do you even handle that? A
Yeah.
weird thing.
I don't even know, man. My grandma, I don't know how she's still kicking. I love her, but same thing. She's
Yeah.
a heavier. She's had several heart issues. Like,
Yep.
I think she's still on oxygen. I'm just like,
Damn, dude. Like,
damn.
you want to talk about a fighter? Like, you're whooping ass.
Yeah, and she decided to change things up. So she moved
Mm,
near my parents, and they were helping her. And my mom's a
yeah.
health nut, and my grandma, at her age, suddenly
Mm,
started getting curious about her health. And my mom's like, "Well, this is what I do." And then my grandma just started kind of like picking up things, and she started losing a lot of weight.
no
And I
way.
believe she's in her 80s. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm just like, that's fucking cool, dude. To change
That's
things
insane.
up that late in the game and
At that
still
age?
want better.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
I
Yeah,
was like,
that's
that's
that
amazing.
is insane.
If
I
anybody else would have given up on them, but she, my mom had a faith. My
yeah,
dad, they kept pushing her, and yeah, like it. Who knows what would have happened if they didn't show her a better
yeah,
way?
exactly.
So
That's exactly it. And you know, good on her for like recognizing like I want to make it to do that at 80 when like you would think like I'm just gonna fucking ride out this thing. And she's like, no, I
yeah,
want to make a change. It's like,
yeah,
where the, I'll support it. Fucking Graham.
yeah. Like get it, girl.
I have a so my biological. I feel like I talk about this a lot, but it's because I have different fucking guests on. So the Puerto Rican flag here to explain this is my biological father, which I found out about just a couple years ago, is Puerto
Mm,
Rican, and this was given to me as a gag, and I was like, "Fuck it, I'll hang it up, whatever." But like his mom, my I guess would be my grandmother, I believe. She's like you really broken English. Like she is Spanish to a
mhm,
T. Like she calls me Chris. Like it's the funniest thing. And
mm.
like she's a chain smoker. Like she's talking about like drinking wine and like she's like, oh, I met a guy, and I'm like, shut up. Like, because I met these people
Wow.
for the first time a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And it's so funny, like just the difference between like, the family that I would call my dad, my grandmother, like that side. And then I meet this
Mm.
side, and it's like this really thin Spanish woman, so chain smoking cigarettes, not having a care in the world. And she's like, I think in her 90s now. And it's like, she's like, I'm so used to like I said, like just younger deaths. It just is what it is.
Yeah.
And then on this side, I have somebody who still thinks she can party and
Living
like,
her best life.
yeah. This just little Spanish woman.
That is awesome.
It's the funniest thing. It's such a weird dynamic.
That is so cool. I love that. That is so cool. That's why I
It
hope
was
like
so funny.
I can, genetics, you can't outrun them for the most part, but there are
Right.
some things you can mitigate. So I'm
Yes.
very curious to see kind of what kind of example I'm gonna set, you know.
Right. Yeah.
There's no way
Yeah,
I'm
I
running
think
away
about
from
that.
arthritis. Everything cracks. But it's all good. Oh man.
Yeah. No, you think about that stuff where it's like, even if it's not here yet, like right now, it's like,
Hmm.
what's that one genetic thing that's like, I thought I wasn't gonna see it, and I'm 40 now, and it's like, son of a bitch, like my knee pops every time I stand up, or just something like that weird thing where it's
Hmm.
like, oh, I remember dad complaining about that. I thought I
Yeah.
skipped it. It's just like, nope, that's there.
Diabetes. It's
Yeah,
nipping at my feet.
yeah.
It's like no. And I love sweets, so that's gonna be a hard one.
Yeah, that's a tough one. That's I like like the hypertension thing. Like I of my mother's sons, like I was always the one, even when I was like super thin and I was always the active son, like the other two just aren't. But I was still always the one that was like, you're on the cusp, you're on the cusp, you're on the cusp. And I'm like, son of a bitch. So it's like that's one of those things where it's like that's the mitigation where okay, let me go just maybe I can run this thing away. Like let me go put in a
Yeah.
mile and just like go hit the heavy bag, like something these last couple pounds, if I just keep these away, I can hopefully keep hypertension away. And it's like
Not put so much sodium on stuff.
yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah, yeah. Like I
yeah.
love seasonings and all this other shit. And it's like you gotta be careful. You just do. Like
Yeah.
you were always the chosen one for fucking hypertension. I hate to break it to you.
Oh, that's a hard one, man.
It is tough. It's super tough because like everything affects it. Like whether it's your stress or like, I mean
Hmm.
you obviously know, but like it's just one of
Yeah.
those things that to keep that one away is it's a tough one. It's a constant thing. And I try not to, dwell on it at all
Yeah.
or think about it. And then it's like, all right, well, I feel why am I so warm right now? And then it's like, do I need to go take my blood pressure? Or is it just hot in this fucking house?
Yeah. Yeah, you gotta get your thyroid checked or something.
Yeah, yeah. But
Hmm.
we're good. We're good. I not too worried yet.
Good, good. Are you still active? Like you said you were doing MMA, but
Yeah,
what has taken its place?
I'm not as good as I should be about it, I'm not gonna lie. But I have just my downstairs setup where I can kind of just sneak away. And
Hmm.
I have my heavy bag, I have a stationary bike, I've got weights, like I'm not and then luckily it's summer, so you might swim a little bit, do something there. But
Hmm.
I definitely need to get back into something, whether it's just a jujitsu class, anything at all.
Yeah.
My son, like I said, he'll be 5 in October, so I want to introduce him. He did t-ball for the first time. I want to get him used to team sports, introduce him to jujitsu, and that's probably when I'll be like, you know what, fuck it, let me just pay for us both, and we'll just do like a father-son thing, and I think
Yeah.
that'll be fun, and that's jujitsu is one of those things where it's great exercise. So like,
My arms and my back exploded when I started doing
yeah.
jujitsu.
hmm
And I lifted a
Anytime you're
lot.
trying to, yeah, anytime you're like, it was such a different thing because I used to love lifting too. Like, and then you get into a gym and you're wrestling, you're grappling, you're doing jujitsu, and like, I don't know if it's just the constant force of somebody else and your force, but like, there's just nothing like it in regards to your legs, your back. Like, I've never had anything hit
Yeah.
me the way like wrestling did. So
Amazing.
it is. It's like it's insane. It's I don't know the science behind it, but I support it.
I'm excited for you. I hope you find a love in the sport
Yeah,
of some
well,
kind. Yeah.
yeah. I really enjoyed just training, but I just have to be better at
Yeah.
committing to it.
It'll
I gotta
happen.
fall back in love with it. That's what it is.
Yeah.
And I know
Yeah.
all I have to do is go back. Like once I walk back in, then it's like, oh, I remember this. But then my stupid ass be like, you think I could take a fight? And I'm like, no, you dumbass. No, you can't do that.
I mean, yeah, but
I mean, you can. I don't know if you should. That's where should comes back to play.
yeah. But I don't know if I write this too crazy. Like the whole you never know when you're gonna go.
Yeah, yeah,
You know.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Uh, but I
Yeah.
feel like I would walk away from MMA if I started to be not CTE, but you know,
Right. Just yeah. You
things start.
start
I told my husband,
you
I was
start
like, just
noticing
fucking tell
things.
me when it starts to go, right? Right? Absolutely. And I'm like, okay,
Yeah. But
yeah, I
will
don't want
you
to.
like but, like
I
I need you
pray.
to.
I
Yeah,
pray that I
there's
notice things changing and I like know when to pull away and like, ah,
yeah, like oh you're forgetting things. You're slurring a little bit more than you used to. And it's like, okay,
mm-hmm.
well I think I should probably not do this anymore.
Yeah, that's scary. One of the fighters that I think is pretty cool, Claudia Galdaga.
Yeah,
I don't know
yeah,
how to say
yeah.
her last name. I don't know how to say her last name, but yeah, I think she had like a chronic concussion syndrome, something like that.
It's like it's so scary to think about because
Yeah.
like it only takes just one, one really bad. Even the young boxer who was like sucker punched by his opponent, and like
Yeah.
just like it only takes one freak thing, and it's like, oh my god. So, and obviously you don't want to think about it because you're
Hmm.
active and you're
Yeah.
training, and it's like,
Yeah.
but it's always there because, like you said, you really don't know what it's going to be that sets
Hmm.
that or your time or so.
Yeah.
It's a
But I remind
scary thing, and
myself
it's
you have just probably a greater chance of dying driving than I do in the cage, so.
yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. Like
Yeah.
obviously the risk is always there, but let's be real. Like there's other things out there that are much worse. Like
Oh, for
you're
sure. Like
probably
flying. Flying is
yeah,
so
I
safe, but it feels so dangerous. It's like,
yeah.
eh.
Like you're I think it's just, you're in the fucking sky in a machine and you're just relying on this machine. Like
I've
it's
gone
a scary
skydiving
thing.
3 times,
Did you?
and yeah, I skydived 3 times, and I didn't care until the third time when I brought my brother along, and I was like, oh shit, this is
Uh
dangerous.
yeah, yeah. Once little brother's there.
Yeah, I was like, fuck, if something happens, like, I'm gonna, I don't know if I could live with myself. And then I started like,
uh,
mm,
yeah,
hmm.
yeah.
The gravity of the situation, like, really stood in. Oof.
Like, oh yeah, I did this twice before, and it was probably just as scary then, but I just didn't think about it, and
Yeah.
now here we are. Yeah.
Good.
Well, I think that's what happens. Like, once you're putting somebody that isn't yourself in those shoes, you're like, oh, that's a
Hmm.
scary fucking thing. Like, you know, even at an amateur level, like I didn't really care about. And then I think about if my son was like, oh, I want to kickbox. I'm like, it's a scary thing. Like
Yeah.
you want to get in there, and obviously I'll support that, but I need you to take that shit serious then, because I'm not trying to see you leveled.
Yeah, like, make me confident that you are
Yeah,
taking this shit serious. Yeah.
yeah, like because dad didn't. Dad was a moron.
Oh no.
For my first one, second one I did. First one I rolled off the couch. I literally just told this story, but I saw somebody fight that and they just weren't good. Like, they
Uh-huh.
were constantly walking forward, mummy hands, just trying to keep their opponent away. And they threw an illegal elbow and they won off of that. And I was like, oh, well, I mean, if this guy could do it, I could do it. This guy, this guy was not good.
Yeah.
And I rolled off the couch. I lost like 45 pounds, like in a few months. I worked hard, but I
Wow.
didn't,
That's
it
awesome.
was just dieting and like really basic shit. Like I wasn't, the only training partner I had was somebody, one of the military guys I was talking about, military experience. And
Mhm.
we trained in a backyard like 2 days a week, just wrestling and sparring. No class. It was always live training.
Yeah.
So stupid. And the guy I fought was from a very respectable gym and did take it serious.
Hmm.
And I drove like 5.5 hours to lose a fight in like 26 seconds.
He just bum rushed
And
you or what?
it was, I think I got excited and I initiated a clinch or he initiated a clinch and it was like hip toss, ground and pound, you're done. Like, see you later, get the hell out of here. And it was like, that's literally how I
No.
look in the video. It was like, I was laughing. Like, I enjoyed it still.
Yeah.
And it's, you go on YouTube and you watch this thing and it's like a 3-minute video and you're like, oh, okay. So you got 3 minutes. And it's like, no, that's just intros. It's just skip to the last like 40 seconds.
Yeah.
You guys don't
Oh
have to watch
man.
the beginning stuff. And like, but like after that, that's when I was like, all right, I should probably take this serious. Like, and I lost my next fight, but I was at least prepared like to win that fight too. Whereas the first one, absolutely not. Like,
Yeah.
why would you do this?
You could be so lighthearted about it though.
Yeah. I think that just comes with, I think that's the upbringing that we're talking about where like everybody bullies each other. We're all assholes. Like we're very, we all love
Thick-skinned.
each other, but like, yeah, you can't be a part of this family if you can't make fun of somebody. So
Or if you take yourself too serious, like
yeah,
you're
yeah,
gonna
yeah,
be
yeah.
hurt all the time.
Yeah. So like, if I would have lost that fight and I didn't have that, that's what it'd probably be like, dragging feet and like.
Yeah.
But I just laughed, and I had a bunch of friends there, which is probably more embarrassing, but it made it more fun. So like,
Yeah. You got
so
to
it was
shoot the
good.
shit afterwards. You're like, yeah,
Yeah, we had like a
yeah.
shitty motel. It was so funny because motel security comes in. They tell us it's a motel, by the way, not hotel. It's a really shitty shanty place, and they're knocking on the door, and it's just because we're loud. And I'm like, didn't we look up? And this is true. Like 2 weeks before we stayed there, somebody got murdered in that motel, and I was like, why are you checking? Like, we're just a bunch of. And then I was like, well. The last noise complaint they had was probably that homicide. So
Oh my
maybe
god.
that's why they're knocking on the door.
Yeah.
Like maybe
A
they're
little
not
bit
being
extra careful.
assholes. Yeah. Because at first I was like, you guys just had a murder here. Why do you care that we're loud? And I was like, oh, they just had a murder here. That's why they care.
That's what
That's exactly why, you
the
idiot.
quick flip.
Yeah.
Mm.
As soon as I said it out loud, I was like, okay, never mind. We're good. We'll shut up now.
Yeah, there's something about that thought in the head, and then once you hear it, you're like, oh.
Yeah. You're like, oh, that's exactly why. That's you moron.
That's awesome,
Oh,
though. So that experience to having friends around you, that's why my next fight, I do want a lot of family around me.
yeah.
Yeah.
Do you usually just kind of go like your team don't really.
Well, you know how you don't know how you feel, what you're gonna think until you're in there.
Yeah.
And nobody
Yeah.
really talks about their experiences. So it's kind of like hard to what's normal? Am I overreacting? Is this blah blah blah? Like there's nothing to really compare it to.
Yeah.
So the first few fights that I had, I was like, oh, it's business. I'm there to get in and get out and do what I have to do. I don't
Yep.
want anybody around me. Blah blah blah. Like I just have this whole I don't know thing I had made up in my head.
Yeah.
But now with my last fight, I had a teammate come and join me, and his mom, who's a really great friend of mine as well. And it was the best fight camp. Like having them around was amazing. And I was kind of like, fuck. I kind of wish I would have had this before. That feeling
Yeah.
of just
Right.
more people around me. But yeah, so I'm like, fuck. Okay, I'm not protecting myself and doing what I need to do. It's just like, no, you should have people around you. It should be a celebration. It's
Yeah.
win or lose, you should have people around you.
It is a weird. Yeah, I can see both sides of that though, because you do kind of want to just get in there, like it's work. You want to kind of just get in, focus
Mhm.
on your job, and get out. But then at the same time, it's like it is kind of nice to have those people there. How
Yeah.
many how many amateur fights did you have?
Yes.
I'm gonna say I'll go none just by the reaction. Did,
Yeah.
did you just go straight from like jujitsu tournaments to pro?
Yeah.
Is that yeah? Okay.
Yeah.
As
Yeah.
soon as I saw the reaction, I was like, all right, I get it.
Yeah, it's weird.
That's a strange thing.
To do it. So I said, how high?
Yeah, yeah, right.
Jump. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
I am fucking crazy. Sometimes I like to think I'm very calculated and very like quiet and just but no, I think I am a little unhinged.
Yeah. Well, it's like one of those things where I think that's what I like about this sports so much is like you can kind of dictate, if you're not good at college football, you might not see the NFL. If you're not good at college basketball, you might not see the NBA. But like I like that this sport gives you the opportunity where it's like you can just go out there as an amateur, you can lose 15 fights in a row, and then still your coach will be like, look, you have the experience. Let's just go sign a pro fight. And maybe it's not the best advice, but like what you do as an amateur doesn't make it so you can't hit that next pro level. And
Hmm.
maybe you're in a situation like you where your coach is like, fuck amateur. Like, I think you can just do this. And it's like, you don't have to rely on hopefully my stats are good enough in college. Hopefully my stats are good enough
Yeah.
in high school to go to a good college. like you kind of just your work can really dictate whether or not you want to go pro. And
Hmm.
I think that's probably like one of my favorite things about the sport of MMA and boxing,
Hmm.
and
I didn't even think of it
boxing
that way
not as
either.
much.
So that's
Yeah,
yeah. You could even
like
be in your 40s and be like, I feel
that's the
like
thing.
fighting.
Yeah, like oh, all
Go
right. I
for
mean,
it.
you're here, fuck it. And it's like I I feel like this sport it's in the same realm as like music, in the same realm, and not in the sense of what it is, but like you your younger self isn't what you have to like you don't have to be a kid in high school and hope you get drafted, hope you get like you can just work and you can be funny and get on stage. You can do music and get on stage. You can work and turn yourself into a fucking weapon and like get into a ringer cage. And obviously the younger guys have, you know, but like
Yeah.
to say it's not possible at 35 to get in there is just not true. Whereas
Hmm.
a 35-year-old putting on pads to go play football might look fucking insane for the first time.
Yeah, for
like,
sure.
like,
Yeah.
so it is.
What are you doing
I
here?
think that's yeah. Like, what do you mean? Oh, I'm a walk on. No, walk off. Get out of here.
Yeah. It's almost like let's say jujitsu.
Hmm.
You see an older person, you're like, ooh, what is this? What does he know?
Yeah. We yeah. I just talked about this with somebody. Um, on an episode like we just recorded 2 days ago, and it was like when you see a younger guy or sorry an older guy go into the gym for the first time, or you see an older guy like pick up a microphone for the first time and tell a joke, and it's like what did this guy do 10 years ago? You know what I mean? Like this might just
Yeah.
be a bad motherfucker, like
Yeah.
for sure. Like and it's and if they're not, like what made them want to come in here at 45 years old and say like I want to get into jujitsu? Like
Which is
what
even
have they
cooler.
seen? What did they do? Yeah, I agree.
Not easy. It is not
I
easy.
agree. No, that's like your grandmother. Like,
I used to totally kind of off Brad, but I used to be a library assistant, and there's this. I
mm,
swear to you, he was like 76 or in his 80s, maybe even
mm,
90. I don't fucking know. But he would shuffle. I kid you not. He would shuffle with like a biology 101 book, and he'd always
yeah.
check it out. He'd check it out, and then he'd return it, and I'm like, oh, you're gonna make me
Yeah.
cry. You're so fucking
Yeah.
cute. Like
Like
I want to protect you till
ah,
the end of your time. Like you're
right.
beautiful.
Right. Like whatever you're
Yeah.
doing with this book, like I want you to hit that level before
Yeah.
like I want to
Yes.
see you
You're like
succeed.
rooting for
Like
them. Like,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah. That's so like older people that like go back to school, like anything at all. Like I support that so much. That's so cool.
Hmm.
That's so
No,
fucking cool.
you're
Cause
never too old.
no, no,
You're only
that's
too dead.
yeah,
Once you're
that's
dead,
that's
you're
what yeah, one as long as you're alive and capable, you're never too
yes, as
old.
long as you're
Once you're dead.
breathing,
Yeah.
go for it. Yeah. But my coach, he was like, the no Amy thing. It was just he's
Yeah.
like, honestly, professional is a mindset. I don't
Yeah.
think you're gonna get scared with the lights. He's like, I don't know. I just think you just need to do it. And I'm like, okay,
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's I mean it
done.
worked. You're
Yeah.
like you're at this point now where, like I said, 7-0. Like he he obviously saw something and
Hmm.
can't say he's fucking wrong. So
Yeah.
good on you,
And he's
coach.
worked with other professionals and has gotten many people into the UFC. So I was just like, you know what you're doing,
Yeah, I mean, if a guy like that says like, "I think you're good," then I think you're
right?
good. Like,
You're like, okay.
all right, coach, you got it.
Yeah.
Oh,
So I'll be in Spokane for a while.
yeah. I mean, it seems to be a good fucking place to be honest,
Mhm.
in the sense
Yeah.
of what it's doing for you and what they're doing for you and your husband and
Hmm.
everything else. So that's
Yeah.
really cool. And like I
It
said,
is.
I'm really looking forward to your next one and what goes
Thank
on from there.
you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming on, Melissa. I appreciate
Of
it.
course. Thank you for the invite. I
Of,
enjoyed this.